Oh, what a beautiful day it is. We had rain last night and the day before on Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the DOXX Report. I'm retired, 72 years old, United States citizen, and a recipient of Medicare payments living in Central Florida. This is my personal YouTube channel, vlog, citizen journalism account, and my generalized social online platform. Thank you for joining me. And we have comments already, and people are tuning in. Not many, but who's in here first? Well, Tommy says, let the brainwashing commence. I guess he's referring to the UAP chalkboard there with the bizarro Seinfeld group in front of. Well, Tommy, I'm sorry to bring you the news, but it's a worldwide phenomenon. It's not confined to Alabama or Mississippi trailer courts, okay? Worldwide phenomenon. We've had hearings on it. I'm just preparing everyone, giving you the top, incident guide. The top incident guide. I can't go over each incident with you. If you want to look it over, great. If not, but your mind's made up, Tommy, so, I can't help you. I just want to assure the audience I'm not using any AI video. Now, I may have a photo, but that's just, it's obvious, for fun. But this channel does not use AI video, or artificial intelligence, or fake news. We don't run with fake news. Now, I may get a story wrong, and if I do, I'll apologize and I'll stand corrected. If you want AI video of an event, that they, go to ABC News. And we're going to have that later in the show. And the Wall Street Journal for fake news. Yeah, they'll run with it. But welcome, Tommy. Let's see. Well, Rufus is here. The DOXX Report comes back. I'm back, baby, with a twist. I've done a pivot. I guess I should talk about that now. I had to took some time off because I'm trying to have others pivot, or try to help others. And let's go, wait a second. Maybe I'm the one that has to pivot. Let them be whoever they want to be. Just let them go. And so I guess that's what I'm going to do. So I had to do a pivot. And I had to work on so I put in, I hid my channel, but I forgot. I guess maybe I made the videos private first. I can't remember now. So when I brought it back, there was trouble, or I would have streamed earlier. And where's my media? So I got this. So I unhid the channel, but I got this thing. It said 0 subscribers. Well, how can I stream if I got 0 subscribers? Nobody's going to tune in. So I thought, wait a second here. So as soon as the subscribers came back, then I noticed I didn't have any video up from previous sessions. And that was my fault. So this morning, once they added the subscriber, we got golfers shooting by. And you can see the flag, upper left, the red flag means it's up front. So I decided to put back, unhide everything. And I'll just if I chop them off all now, because I want to do a pivot, so I really don't want old material up there. But if I hide it all, then I lose, I can't pin things, and you lose some features of YouTube. So as I get new streams up and new numbers, then I'll chop off the back going forward. So I spent time on the X account. So the X account now is strictly for a spiritual journey. I am not going to put up clips of anything else. It's going to be spiritually centered over on X. But I'm in this world, so I'm going to use YouTube, but not of it. Then I'll go over to X and put some things up there. Rufus concerned about Morty. Well, he might be listening. I think he's doing okay. Maybe he's taking some time off. I sent him an email, check on him, but I don't really I'm not going to ask him about his health issues or anything. So I had an idea. I wanted to bounce off him, and he wasn't interested. So, but I think he's okay. I don't know when he's going to stream again. But I have another idea if anybody wants to hear it. I won't email him. I'll talk about it publicly. Then maybe that way he'll hear it. But I don't think he'll go for it anyway. I think, as far as I know, it's okay. I think, Boris, we all, oh boy, this is Mortimer-centric here. I think we all need an update on that Hollywood guy who owns a diner and multiple homes across the West Coast. We're all worried. Well, he'll stream it again at some point, I would think. I don't know. Gampers, welcome back, Docs. How was the Shadow Realm? Oh, the Shadow Realm, the Spirit Realm. The Spirit Realm is of light. Let thy eye be single, thy body shall be full of light. I enjoy putting that stuff up. So, but I don't think YouTube is the platform for it, but X is. And it's getting views, and hopefully it'll help some people or get on that spiritual path. And that's what it'll tie in today. We're quickly approaching. I got some UAP video or individuals, and when you got a billionaire talking about higher power, they answer to a higher intellect. He's really talking about the spiritual. I mean, maybe, and you even have parts of the government saying some of these entities are spiritual in nature. What does that mean? You got Tucker Carlson talking about UAPs, and I don't want to misquote him, but I think he thinks they're demons or something. But I don't think the spiritual realm needs spaceships. But what do I know? So first you got to get help. You can't put old wine into new bottles. Excuse me. You can't put new wine into old bottles. So see a therapist first. Well, that's not what my pivot. See, my pivot is I'm going to use that strictly for spiritual, the in-depth stuff. I can still discuss it, in general terms over here. And I can put up a video over here on the UAPs. But I just decided I have to do it somewhere, and I can't. So I've segregated the two. X is for one thing, and YouTube is more for a grab bag of things. So what else do I don't have anything else on Morty. I bounced an idea off of him on an email, and he didn't go for it. So, but I didn't ask him about his health. He didn't tell me anything, but I don't know. Well, they're just on another plane of existence, interdimensional beings, but I think that may be different than spiritual. Don't know. Maybe we'll get to some point, we'll figure that out. But whatever they are, and we'll get into, because I'm going to show some clips. Everybody wants to know, are we alone? We're not. Are we alone? No, you've never been alone. You're going to be talking about UAP portals here, a couple videos. You have your own portal. All of us are interdimensional spiritual beings on the physical plane. So start meditating. But I cover that in X, so I'm not going to go in depth onto that. Let's see, cleared that up. A quick one on Ivana Trump. Mrs. Trump the first, was that his first wife? So I'm reading, she passed away back in 2022 at the age of 73. And any of you who are elderly and can afford it, get out of your home. If it has a staircase, move. You got to get a single level dwelling. She passed away at her home on the Manhattan's Upper East Side in New York City. According to the New York City Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, her death was ruled accidental, with the official cause being blunt impact injuries to the torso. What's the torso? Upper body. They didn't say lower torso. And it does not, a torso, I looked it up, it does not include head, neck, arms, or legs. So I just thought that's such a bad way to go. You take a fall in your own home. But you know what happens as you're seniors? And I'll tell you I got a health issue. I haven't worked out all last week. I didn't take a fall, but something else happened to me. Let's see, back to Ivana Trump. Sustained as a result of a fall. Specifically, reports indicate she fell down a set of stairs, including a steep spiral staircase in her residence, and was found unresponsive at the bottom of the staircase. There were no indications of foul play, and the matter of death was classified as accidental. That's a terrible way to go. Donald Trump announced her death publicly that day, describing her as a wonderful, beautiful, and amazing woman. She was the mother of Donald Trump Jr., Ivanka Trump, and Eric Trump, and was President Donald J. Trump's first wife, married from 77 to 92. So you got to be careful around the house. And the reason I say that, because I wasn't careful. I try to cut corners around the house. I'm not really looking where I'm going. I just want to get there, and I'm thinking of things, and I stubbed my toe on the heaviest article in the living room, the entertainment center, and it's curved. It's got curved edges on the bottom, and I hit my left toe, and oh my God! But I rubbed it. I just put my hand, and it seems like I've stubbed my toe before. It's not a big deal. And I put on my shoes. Now this was Tuesday morning, so I worked out Monday of last week. So I put on my shoes, and it is just throbbing, and I can't walk. I'm not going in there injured. Now, when you're working out, and I suggest, you got a spiritual journey, you also got a physical journey, take care of your physical beingness. You got to know the difference between tired or soreness, or you just don't want to do it, and injury. The only thing that should stop you from working out is injury. Little soreness, yeah, you can get, that's okay. But if you're injured, and I couldn't walk, and I'm going, what the hell? I take a look at it. It's the ugliest. It was all dark, and it was blistered. It was swelling, because somehow I blistered it on the inside of the little toe, left foot. And I go, I'm not going to the fitness center. Well, I could do there and do my exercise. I'm trying to talk myself into it. And I go, no, I got to just relax. Because I put on a shoe, and I had my widest shoes that I own. On a Tuesday, I used the gray shoes. They're extra wide. And it was still killing me. So I thought, what the hell? I got to go eat. And I got to stop at Lowe's. So I stopped at Lowe's and got a plant. And I thought, I just will fuel up. So I fueled up at the wholesale club. Speaking of which, I was paying under $3, or just $3 even for super unleaded. But now it's $3.75. You can thank the media for that, okay? The fake news media, and we'll get into it later. But then I was thinking, and I got some clips of Donald Trump talking about oil, and then the price will come down. But you got to remember, it's a global commodity. Even though we're the largest producer in the world, I think, it's a global commodity. So it's what? Priced, it has a global price, right? It's like gold. It doesn't matter. The market sets the price for the gold globally. So even if it costs you more, you can't charge more. Nobody will buy it, right? And you can't charge less because you'd be foolish. So oil is the same thing. So like if we're producing our own oil, why don't we just buy our own oil? Well, but you got to pay a global price for it. So we'll get into that too. So where was I? So I got some coffee, came home, and I just thought, what a great time to do the yard work. And I got photos of it. I got some, it looks beautiful. I could kind of limp around and could do the landscaping and it worked out perfectly, because then it started raining heavy. As soon as I got done, about a day later, it started pouring, and rain and everything got wet. And tomorrow morning, guess what? It's going to be in the 40s. And I had the AC guy coming over, and I said, hey, let's do it next week. I don't want to be running I don't want to get up early, and it's 40 degrees, and I have to turn the air conditioner. No. I'm going to be running the heater tomorrow morning. So it's very, the color, and I looked at this thing, and I thought, oh my God, I hope I don't have to amputate it. When it goes that color, it's like, what the hell? So it's been a week. The color's returned, but I still have the blister. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to give it another couple days. I'll wait till Thursday. If I can maybe tape it somehow so I don't, And if you break your toe, they don't set a toe, right? I don't think I broke it. I really whacked it good. I hit it, but it was, I had no idea it would stop me from walking. I was just too much pain to walk. Oh, we got to go with it. Before I get to the comments, let's get to the weather. Holy smokes. You cannot believe this. And then, you know what? There's other channels out there. They have a puppet, a hand puppet. Well, you know what? I can have some assistance here. So who do I got? I got Blondie and Jock. Actually, it's Princess Peach and Mario. Once she hears what I told her, I can hear her now.
How dare you!
Well, okay, I dared. Weather, 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Beautiful. 26 degrees Celsius. Humidity 72%. You'd think it'd be a great golf day, but it's not. The wind is 26 kilometers per hour. That would be 16 miles per hour. But if you're in Florida, visiting, you're going to golf, right? If you're coming from snow country, you're going to golf. All right, thank you, Princess Peach and Mario. Back to the comments. Let's see. I'm guessing you didn't watch the Oscars. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Hell no. Oscars? You kidding me? Hollywood is just it's got to be tough, especially if you almost make it. You can almost make a living at it. Let's say you get some really good roles, and then what do you do? You got to get work. You got to be working all the time. Speaking of which, and that'll be in the news. We opened up I didn't open up. Walmart opened a super center in Wildwood, Florida, and they had a celebrity over there to help them open it up. They had 2 celebrities. I was going to go over there because it's marketed as the Walmart of the future, and I'm in the value shopping business for my own, But it's in Wildwood, so it's further than Costco. But so that the actor, and he was a television actor, and you'll recognize him when I show him to you. And he had to pivot. You got to keep working. You got to have the income coming in. No way to walk. So let's see. Well, thank you, Pavel. Good to hear you're on the tubes, Docs. Yes. So I got to give Big Boss Man Curly material, right? And the Diggler's in the sea. Let me see your toe. No, you don't want to see it. Oh, I showed my neighbor. It was terrible. And it was the swelling. It was just all blood swelling up on the inside. I go, what the hell is this? Now I'm thinking, I don't want to get my sheets bloodied up. So what did I do? Wore black socks to bed, just in case. It was bad. And again, back to that's the reason. If you got elderly, get in a single story. But I recommend something that I bought on Amazon, sticky grip socks. I don't wear these to bed, but I love wearing socks around the house. But you don't want to slide and fall. And what if you hit your head on the entertainment center, and nobody finds you? I'll be dead. I'll be dead for maybe a month before the neighbor. I don't know how long it would take them. So I first had these at the hospital when they're doing the left inguinal hernia repair with mesh. So I thought, well, I should buy those. So I looked on Amazon. There they are. And they're great. So you don't slide and, take a fall. I mean, you got to think about this as a senior. I recommend it. They're called, you go on Amazon, put in Stippy Grips socks. That's just one thing. All right, back to the comments. Thank you. No, you can't see my toe. Maybe you have a touch of gout. No, I stubbed my toe. I've been taking allopurinol since the first moved to Las Vegas, 89? Yeah. It was 300 milligram. Now I'm on 100 milligram daily. That prevents the uric acid from forming, which is the gout. No, I don't have gout. No, I stubbed my toe. When it turned black, I thought, oh my God, they're going to have to amputate this thing, but the color, it could be broken, but it's, I'm walking now, but in my socks. As soon as I put on some shoes, it hurts. So I'm going to give it another, maybe a week. Unless I can wrap it with a Band-Aid or tape or something to get my workout. But, relax, take some time off. Now I can go back to streaming. I got my X account going, and I got this thing back up. And I'm going to go I'm going to go price myself some home coverage insurance because I saved money on the automobile insurance, and I think the insurance broker I was using, is not really has my best interests. Okay, so I'm thinking, I'm gonna try. Is it Geico? But they got the Gecko, right? But it's Geico. And then I have Progressive for my automobile, which I'm saving on that one, and I probably don't need an umbrella policy. So I got that on the thing to do today or this week. And since I had the time off, I fixed some things up, and I did the landscaping, and it's all great. The good thing about going into spring, it's nothing's grown really. It just has to be. In fact, the rock in front of the main hedge out there weren't any weeds in it. So I was quite surprised with that. Could be broken, but what are you going to do? Well, that's California for you. You know how many they keep losing refineries in California, Dirk? But you don't care, right? I mean, you're a libtard. What do you care? Over $5 a gallon here in California. Let's see, with Rufus, not interested in storytelling or art. What you talk about the Oscars? It's on their paradigm. I'm not interested in their paradigm or how they see things. And they have an agenda. There's politics in it. There's politics in. I think one of the worst ones I ever saw was a Star Trek movie. It was a Star Trek movie, and the big bad alien ship, whatever, it was a drilling rig shooting fire. It was just so absurd, so ridiculous. Or global warming, the mass hysteria, and I'm not interested. I can't do it. There's no art there. It's big business. Stairs. Let me see your toe. What did I say? Stairs. Whatever that means, Dirk, I don't know. Okay, now I also want to respond. There's a certain, I'll just name him, Aussie expat, Mr. Bitcoin. And he was saying, this was a while back. Now, this is before the war started, or the Iran thing. Can't call it a war. Congress didn't declare it a war, so whatever it is. He said, S&P 500, it's not doing too well. No, it's not really doing too well. I go, wait a second, so let's look it up. So I thought, let's look at Bitcoin for 5 years, and then we'll look at S&P 500 5-year. Okay, there's your Bitcoin when it went down to $69,000. I can't remember what date I took this on, unless it's on here somewhere. Anyway, I'm just looking at that point of time. Oh, here, March 4th. Here we go, March 4th, 8:24 a.m. UTC, 69,000 something. So Bitcoin for the 5 years was up let's call it 42%. Okay, that's pretty good. So remember that, 42% in the last 5 years. What did S&P 500 do? This is the day before, March 3rd. For the past 5 years, S&P 500 up 77, almost 77.5%. So I can sleep at night, S&P 500. Yeah, it's down a little bit now, but if you were younger, working and buying, dollar cost averaging, you want to keep buying. You get up more shares, at a lower, because you've got a lower price. So Bitcoin, the 3%, and this is 77.5% over 5 years. So that's my rebuttal to one known as Aussie expat. Golf ball report, please. Yes, the most popular color is chartreuse, the yellow-green. So I'm out there. We had the heavy rain last night, so I went out there. It looked pretty good because I already done the landscaping. I had good water flow, get it away from the house. And I see one on the neighbors, a chartreuse, brand new, put it in the bucket. And then I go over my neighbors, don't tell my neighbor, but I could see one plain view just on the corner of our property, so I grabbed that one. And now the day before Sunday evening, I hear it hit it was definitely a ball, hit the house, and it hit it again. So I think it bounced on the roof. I don't know where it is. I went out there. I can't find it unless it's in the hedge right next to the house. But it is so thick. It's so dark in there. I'm going to have to get my gloves, and I started hitting it with the rake this morning to see if they would fall out, but it would just swing back and forth. So I don't know where it went. I can't, but it was definitely a golf ball yesterday. But this morning, 2. I'm glad you're mega. They were not. They were not Pro V1s. They were not Titleist. They were some other brand. Can't think of the brand. But they were keepers. Beautiful, beautiful color. Well, that's your assessment. You've kind of become the new Jay Gray, Mr. Opinion. So you only want to hear things. No, I've heard their things, their ramblings. I'm not interested in it. They're global warming, and it's all a shakedown. And especially from Hollywood. Doesn't interest me. It's like the news, and you're going to find out later why I don't watch the news. Anyway, so you only want to hear things that you're not necessarily, or open my mind, but I don't want to hear politics in the movies over and over and over again. It's the same message they try to get through. I'm not very open-minded. I think I'm very open-minded. Let's see, Gappers. Lovely bad. Where the watches? Agitprop? Let's see, Gappers. One thing after another is so laughably bad, worth a watch just to see for yourself. Pure Agitprop. The Oscars, I can't take it. They're so full of themselves. I can't take it. Time Lord, you escaped from the deep state? I don't know if there's any escape. The deep, did you escape from the deep state? What deep state is that? I was enticed to come to Florida. I like being in Florida. Oh, there was a strange thing. There was a lizard in the middle of my driveway, and that's where the rain gutter empties out. So I think he got washed out of the gutter somehow. So it's kind of weird. And then I told you I wear safety glasses, right? So I had my safety glasses on. I opened the garage door, and this thing just whipped by my face. It was red. I think it was one of the cardinals. Because it was flying so close to the house. And again, when you have cataract surgery, you have a greater appreciation for your eyesight. If that thing would have hit my eye, and it would have hit my left eye too. So I put the safflower seeds in the front. When it rains, I remove them from the back, and I try to keep them both back and the front open. But the front is a new location because I can peek out the window. And wait till you see these slides I got. They're just beautiful. Rufus, yeah, I have to go back and watch one battle after another. Okay. Campers, write that one. Drop the link, Lex. I'll jump on. Yeah, who are you? Yeah, who are you? DBs are. Yeah, no, thank you. Where's the Pavel? He should be here by now. I think he is here. Look at that. Tommy's looking out for Pavel. Pavel was here earlier, wasn't he? He's right here. Good. He's glad. Good to hear you're back on the tubes, Docs. Thank you. Tommy didn't think it was a good thing. He thinks I'm doing propaganda. Or what did he say? What did Tommy say? Brainwashing. That's what Tommy said. He said, let the brainwashing commence. Let's see. He's old. Dirk says he's old. Oh, Who's old? Yeah, I'm 72. I think I'm in pretty good shape. Until I stub my toe. And I'm too vain to go in there limping into the fitness center. And then they're all going to, oh, you overdid it. You overdid it. No, I stubbed my toe. Sure, you stubbed your toe. Look at that, laughing. Rufus, look at the left and the right there. It's still Hollywood. I'm not a fan of Hollywood. Rufus, with an interesting look at the left and the right, they both weren't well represented. That's for sure. Just not interested. Let's see, I heard Campbell's last comment. Oh, yeah, no, thank you, Narc. In fact, let me get rid of you right now. Let me get rid of you right now, Narc. Go terrorize Archie's show. You and HR are something else. I think Archie brought it on himself, though. Let's see. Add as moderator? No way. Since I know it's Narc, I have to get rid of you. Because you don't change up your bit. The government didn't like your UFO talk. Let's see, Time Lord, California. The government did not like your UFO talk. They tried to re-educate you. Did you meet the missing UFO? Going to cover that too. The general. But I got to get the viewership up, and then we'll start, I got to do an hour and a half. I'm more concerned about his wife. His wife really said, who are we talking about? This is, hang on. Of course, we're talking about General McCaslin. Her name is Susan McCaslin Wilkerson. She released a statement. Now, this is the loving wife, okay? Misinformation. He does have medical conditions, but does not have dementia or Alzheimer's, she says. Okay, he was not confused and disoriented. There was no concerning Friday morning telephone call to a close relative. I have been in, this is the woman, the wife talking, I've been in contact with all of his close relatives and some not so close ones. This is a complete fabrication, okay. 3, it is true that when Neil was in the Air Force, he had access to some highly classified programs and information. He retired from the Air Force almost 13 years ago and has had only very commonly held clearances since. It seems quite unlikely that he was taken to extract. Let me start again. It seems quite unlikely that he was taken to extract very dated secrets from him. It is true, this is his wife talking, that Neil had a brief association with the UFO community through Tom DeLonge, former frontman for Blink-182 and founder of the organization To the Stars. Neil worked for Tom for a bit shortly after his Air Force retirement as an unpaid, you know what, since I'm doing this, you're probably thinking who is the guy? Or is he? I just will show him now. There he is. Neil, okay. Shortly after his retirement, as an unpaid, Neil's choice, consultant on military and technical scientific matters to lend verisimilitude to Tom's fiction book and media activities. Okay. There was less contact, let's see, there was less contact with Tom, blah, blah, blah. The connection is not reason for someone to abduct him. There was less contact with Tom, the community pushing for release of UFO. Okay. Now, this is what disturbs me. Though at this point, with absolutely no sign of him, maybe the best hypothesis that aliens beamed him up to the mothership, period. She's making a joke out of it? He's missing? Your husband's missing. And he took his wallet and his gun and his hiking boots. I mentioned that to the military guy next door, and he goes, maybe he's going to go kill himself. You know what? Not a bad hypothesis. He took his .38 revolver, his hiking shoes, and his wallet. That's all he took. And then she continues, however, no sightings of a mothership hovering above the Sandia Mountains have been reported. What the? I mean, can you imagine a guy saying that about his wife that's missing? Again, let me read the quote. I'm quoting now from her press release. Though at this point, with absolutely no sign of him, maybe the best hypothesis is the aliens beamed him up to the mothership, period. However, no sightings of mothership hovering over the Sandia Mountains have been reported. Is that a time to be cracking jokes? Your husband's missing. He took his gun, hiking boots, and his wallet. I just think that's so bizarre, my dear. Well, then you're projecting, Rufus. Maybe that's what you like to do. I don't mind, but after a while, and when it's the same thing over and over again, okay, I get their point. I don't have to hear it again and again. No, Rufus, I definitely think people just like to hear what they agree with parroted back to them. Sad state of news lately. Or people just start thinking. You can be critical, be a critical thinker, and have some skepticism, but do it across the board, okay? DOXX, give us your Edward R. Morrow impression. I'm in the news business. Oh, that's another thing. I pivoted. I'm not in the entertainment business, okay? I'm just covering stuff I want to cover. This is my personal platform, and we can talk about the Archieverse, but as far as I'm not doing, I had to get rid of let me get rid of this. Hang on. General, thank you for your service. I wish you well. But he does have a medical condition. Now, some guys, if they're diagnosed with something they don't like, and they don't want to go on that timetable, they choose a different option. So, I don't know. Back to the beautiful Gulf. Stephen L., come on, Lex. You're really not following? I'll tune in a little bit. I'll tune into some of the other channels. But I'm not, as far as me going and getting clips or recordings, no. And I had to clean up. I have to make this more compatible with my ex account. You know, if I'm going to talk about spiritual things, you know, I have to get rid of the shine box, and, you know, some of this stuff over here is not appropriate. So I had to kind of clean up. So I did a pivot. Now, if he gets arrested or something, I may talk about it. Or, you know, the fact that Timmy went over on Big Boss Man Curly's show, made some major money, and then talks bad about him. Then he goes back to his own show, and he complains, oh, yeah, Curly and Mo, no, they didn't give me anything. Well, excuse me, they gave you access to their channel. You made money on the deal. So I thought that was kind of strange. I mean, how desperate must Timmy be? And I guess his wife's in Korea. You know, she should be talking. Her family should, you know, sit her down and say, honey, you know, we love you. You're not going anywhere with this guy. Get that out of your head. And then why is she staying around? Her words, he's the only one that understands me. Oh, come on. Not following it. I'll tune in a little bit. As soon as Mark Goldberg's there or some of the other, I just bail, you know. Tommy said, who? Walmart sells steel-toed. You know, I was thinking of that. I said that to myself. Why don't I just walk around that? I may have to do that if they're comfortable. Because I'm always, you know, I take shortcuts. I'm not looking at the floor. I'm looking ahead. And I'm telling you, that it was terrible. When I put my shoe on it, and I couldn't work out for a week because of a toe, the little toe. But I can walk around. When I'm in my socks at house, I'm just fine, you know. I don't think they'll let me go over there in socks. I'll probably get hurt if I do. Walmart sells steel-toed shoes. You know, if they made an insert for socks, That would be a great idea. That would be marketable, I think. Like the ones I showed you, like these things, the socks with the pads on the bottom so you don't slip, and then put like some kind of steel in the front of it, or a separate thing. You can put the steel insert all the way down in there for your toes. I would buy that. I definitely would buy that. Mookie, like Cookie, spiritually centered. No, those are done. I'm 72 years old. I am not going to be looking up Playboard numbers. I'm not going to do research. I'm not going to do clips. I'm not going to do sound bites anymore. I've told you what you're dealing with Timmy. He's basically a political Marxist, and he doesn't want to work. And the other guy, the Beast of Brisbane, maybe I should take that back. But he's a narcissistic personality disorder. That's what you're dealing with. You want to send him money, it's your business. You want to throw it away, your business. You're not helping him. If you want to buy an alcoholic a drink, that's your business. Pasta's in the house. Yo. The Pyramid of Giza. I see it when I want to see it. It's on television. There are so many diseases in Egypt. There's no way I would go to Egypt. No way. DOXX, when are you going to see the pyramid? I don't need to see the pyramid. When are you going to open your spiritual eyes there, Tommy? When are you going to self-discover? When are you going to begin your spiritual journey, Tommy? Go within, Tommy, not without. At work, listening to hear, good to hear. Oh, you listen to this. Now that embarrasses me that somebody would listen to me while they're working. Thank you, Pasta. Good to hear you back. Well, thank you. All right. Well, let's give justice here for Boris. Rumor has it the pyramids got built so homeless people couldn't sleep on them. I guess that was kind of funny. Find F me dead, not Tom DeLonge. What's next? Jeremy Corbell. Did I mention Tom DeLonge? I don't think I mentioned him. Jeremy Corbell. I have a hard time listening to him. Let me write that name down. I don't know if I don't have him here. No, I have Ross Coulthart, Louis Elizondo, Robert Bigelow, James Fox, Tim Pool. Pavel, Blink-82 was a big deal when I was in high school. Really? According to Pavel. Check tire pressure before driving to Giza Plateau. Says Mookie. I ain't driving anywhere. Speaking of driving, I do have one criticism. Not a criticism, but the Toyota 2025 Toyota GR Corolla that I own. It's in the garage. It doesn't have a Starlink in it. I can't open my garage with it, so I have to use my garage remote. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo. But, not a big deal. It's a convenience to have the WRX. You could just program it right into your thing, But I have to take my I do like all the other stuff. Like it shows me the tire pressure, and I do have to turn on the running lights. If you don't put it on auto, you're not going to have running lights. So you can actually turn off the running lights, which I wouldn't want to do that. That's one criticism of it, I guess. That's not true. What about Brazil? Varginha, Brazil. What's a Brazilian to you? Are they Portuguese or they're South Americans? Why is it only drunk gringos who report alien sighting? What's that about? It's not. It's a global phenomenon. Captains and policemen, Many senior, I know. Well, I mentioned that to my neighbor when the general was missing because he's retired. And I said, you got to be careful. They may take you. And he disappeared. And then that's when he said, well, hey, he probably went out and killed himself. That was on his mind. It's like, I just left it there. I didn't want to go any further than that. Many seniors have been disappearing. Well, don't worry about more. I did get an email response from him. No, I didn't hear about that, Rufus. Did you hear the story about a guy who said he was kidnapped by dolphins? They kidnapped him to build an underwater home for them. So he said the guy had been missing for 3 days. No, I missed that one. And I have to change my YouTube algorithm because I've been watching. Oh, there was this. I put it up there with this millionaire couple. This guy, I took it down. He had a $3 million home in New Mexico. But he married a nut, a real nutter, and when she drinks, and she ends up killing him. He had like 1.5 million in the 2 safes, but it was just so bizarre. And then once it knows I like that, it's showing me all this other criminal behaviors. I just have to don't recommend channel. Confirm. Don't recommend channel. I can't. Then they get into the serial killers. I don't want to know that. Rufus, sounds like you pitted to do exactly what you've been. Not really. I'm not playing them. I'm backing off some of the stuff. I'm not covering intensely Archie or, parts of the Archieverse. For instance, there's a new channel out there. Where's the new channel? Just as well do that now. Okay, covered that. Here's the new channel. Look at what do you make of that? What do you think of that there? Patrick and his buddy Baba. I'm calling him that sock puppet. Now it took me a while. I did send him an email. I said, "How can I find your show?" He never got back to me. But I'll share it with you. It's News Bros Show. That's the location on YouTube. One word, News Bros Show. I think a better show would be AD Never Sleeps with Buddy Baba. I think that's a better title. But that's how you find it. So what is that about? Oh, let's go look. I want to get this straight. What are they trying to do over there? So you don't have to go over there if you don't want to go over there. Okay, so let's see more. Okay, celebrity news and pop culture in a satirical format. Sounds or visuals were significantly edited or digitally generated. There you go. That's what he's up to. It's kind of hard to do news business with a hand puppet. I thought that was pretty funny. I mean, the last hand puppet I ever saw was, there's one guy in Archie's, but before that, it was Urban Gentry, and which I would watch some of the reviews he did, but once the puppet came out, that was it. I'm gone. But this one, I may go. I'm going to check it out. I wish him well. Good luck over there. What do you think of that, Mortimer? You got a decamillionaire running a channel. Are they going to be monetized? Huh? How much money does Baba have? The rich get richer, possibly? Maybe so. Only if she should certainly consider it. Roommate is planning. It depends what you want out of your life, roommate. Timmy is not changing for you or anybody else. Unless the only way he's going to change, he's going to have some hardship. His mom's going to have to kick him out of the apartment, say, go live wherever you want. Go live your life. It's time to leave home. But the roommate, you're going to have to think that over. DOXX, has the increased competition from the News Bros channel affected your health? My health? No. No, I went over there and left them an idea. You know, what did I tell them to do? I told them something. Oh, I said scandals and animals. Oh, they're just having fun over there. I don't know if they're going to monetize. Or they should set up a schedule. Does it affect my health? No. Did I stub my toe thinking about their channel? No. Come on. Rufus tampers. Tampers an animal, huh? Brokenstock. Really? Yeah, but I don't want to. I got to be comfortable. I don't. Right now it's socks around the house. Well, let me write that down. I'll check it out. Birkenstock. Sandals with steel toes. And just wear them in the house. Because I'm clumsy, man. Rufus quoting, I like the desert because it's clean. In a way, yeah, the vistas, it's honest. It's, like Iceland. It's not a desert, but you got clear vistas. There's like an honesty about it. It's just everything open. I know. I don't want to get into that algorithm on YouTube, so I got rid of it. Ted Bundy operating floor. Oh, he was, geez. The franchise club, the first choice for news? Well, that's not news going over there. That's strictly entertainment. And he nailed it. He's given the public what they want. If that's what they want, and that's what that entertains them, he gives them what they want. And him and big boss man Curly and Mookie are pulling in the dough. And I think Archie's lost for good. TFC, the first choice for news. I don't know, news on like 2 channels. On the news boards. No, they said I could come over there. Me and Morty could. I was going to pop over there, but they did not. I don't know when they're going to. I wanted to pop on a show just to tell everybody I'm going to be streaming, just to get the word out, but I couldn't. They weren't streaming. I don't know when they stream. Pavel, looks like DOXX won't be able to guest appear on the News Bros as it would constitute a panel appearance. Okay, I thought about that. No, it wouldn't, because they're the host and co-host. That's different. But host, co-host, myself, and someone else, then that would be a panel. But if just those 2, I would do it. Time Lord Count, sock puppet master, Buddy Baba. I think the Fatwa channel may be a new brand. Boris says, no, Tommy, I think the franchise club, TFC, the Fatwa channel, may be a rebrand. Laughing, you would end up like Larry David. A loophole. Not a loophole, but I did think about it. They're always there. And a good second banana kind of knows when to be quiet, But wish them well. It'll be interesting to see if they monetize. All right, what's up next? Well, let me read you the news of none other than the Villages. I'm in the Supercenter. When will the Villages Walmart Supercenter open with celebrity appearances? What we know. All right, it's been done. The new Walmart Supercenter will encompass 200,000 square feet and will feature a 2,904-foot square fence garden center and about 20 gasoline pumps. Wow. Oh, well, it's not a Walmart with gasoline pumps. So it's not a Sam's Club then. A 6,120 square foot fuel station canopy. There will be 867 parking spaces and 38 cart corrals on 14.75 acres. Wow, I got to see that. I'm gonna take my GoPro over there. I got to see that, and I want to know if they have different kind of food. I mean, Costco, if I got to drive, it's further than Costco. So if they're not better than Costco, why would I go over there? But I got to check it out. And let's see, traffic light, according to the Villages, which is this town, a city traffic light may be installed. What's unique about the new Villages Walmart? The Villages Supercenter is part of Walmart's Store of the Future concept. Well, I'm a value shopper. I want to see the store of the future. A 5-year plan that aspires to an improved shopping experience. Well, I know all the parking spots where I go locally, the convenience is all for online shopping or handicapped, or they got one stall for the law enforcement. The Store of the Future promises improved associate support with features to help personnel better support shoppers. Really? The plan is sleeker layouts, scannable QR codes, sharper signage, energy-efficient lighting, expanded product selection, and other features. Wow. It opened Wednesday, March 4th. There you go. Now let's get to at noon, shoppers can learn tips and tricks to improve their golf game with 3-time LPGA major champion Nancy Lopez. She's a big deal down here, I guess because she's older and she's, lady golf champion. At 3:30, actor, where is he? Let's find him. Let's find the actor. There he is. And now that was AI generator. Now you recognize him. I don't. It used to be on television. At 3:30 p.m., actor, comedian, and TV host Anthony Anderson, Blackish, will make an appearance and serve samples to promote his new cookbook, AC Barbecue, The Husky and Handsome Guide to Grilling. That's the name of the book. AC Barbecue, The Husky and Handsome Guide to Grilling. At 4:30 p.m., I missed it. There'll be an Anthony Anderson meet and greet. Wow, I missed it. And there's his Husky and Handsome Guide to Grilling on Amazon. You can get it for, let's black out that. I'm sorry, Anthony, let's give you the proper $30, or you can get it Kindle, $14.99. Hardcover, $30. Once again, the cookbook is Anthony Anderson, Cedric the Entertainer. Oh, that's AC. Okay, so A for Anthony, C for Cedric. The Husky and Handsome Guide to Grilling. See, you gotta pivot in life. No matter what you do, you gotta get that. You gotta keep the you can't afford to lose what? Your passion. Put your passion somewhere else. You should have a passion for life, not just what you think you should be doing. So he's stopping by Walmart, meet and greet. It's something to do. Why not? Make some money. That was an Emmy there sitting by him, so I had to change that. I was going to use it for a thumbnail, and I thought, nah, maybe I better not. So let's go back to the beautiful golf course. So look, in the future, at some point, I'm going to be taking my GoPro over there, see if I can take it in the building. Okay, we discussed News Bros show. All right, let's see. Before I forget, I want to do this. I got to take you on a little tour of my home. Since I've been, I couldn't go work out. I had to do oh, look at that! Look at that there. So this is the north side of the building. You can see the golf course down there, the hedge, and the heat pump with the oleanders. The steel rod there is the over-the-air antenna, okay? And it was really pulling in the signal well. When there's not a storm, it's like it has a great, high definition over the air. The two red bushes there, those are dwarf azaleas. And the beautiful one here is the one nearest is a Formosa azalea, but you can see the difference. It's a larger plant, a little different color. So let's take a look. Isn't that beautiful? And it was so large, I just cut off the top. I just, cut it off, let it brush out. Oh, look at this. That's the front of the house. I got the dwarf azaleas. So I took out the hibiscus. The hibiscus is gone. And I put in I went and purchased another Formosa azalea and put it in the middle, which should expand out it's a 6x8 plant, but I'm going to keep it lower than that. But I want to get it spread out. Isn't that pretty? Beautiful. Next slide. And there we go. There's another shot. And I got the cardinal feeder behind that yellow pillar there. And hopefully that'll fill in that area in the middle. So I got to do something. I like being, accomplish some things, Now, this is a garden. I bought this at Lowe's. It's all cement. It's very heavy. It's on a cement what do you call it? Platform. So it's heavy, and it was kind of green, but it was out in the sun the whole time, and it was like it lost all its color. It looks like a cement piece. Looks cement. So I got time off, and it's like, you know what? I can do better than that. So now there it is now. See how I dolled it up, the green? It's in the center, and there's like if you're back at like where the golf, the flag is, how it shows you the slope, so where the water comes down. So there's the bird cage, and there's the lanai on the right. And that's enclosed. And the porch there used to be, then they decided to put the cement wall in. But let's take a close look at that frog, shall we? Oh, I did a good job, I believe. I went there and I got because see the color on the platform? That was the color of the whole thing, and it looked terrible. So, they make acrylic paint that has a primer with it just for cement. So I did the whole thing green. And now how am I going to get blue eyes on the thing? How am I going to do that? You ready? Blue duct tape. Looked up. Now, we'll see if it stays on. I like it. I like it. 3 comments. Lamb chop. Boy, that's going way back. Gamper's lamb chop. Boris, Tommy for Comedy Curb is top 5 show in the past 20 years. Comedy Curb? Oh, for Comedy Curb. Curb Your Enthusiasm? Yeah, if you lose passion for, you can lose passion for, listen, I had passion for basketball one time, but, you change it. But you can't lose passion for life. Then you're in tough shape. Yes, passion gives purpose, and purpose is what drives you very healthy. While you're here, it's a gift. You just want to make it productive, accomplish things, I haven't even played any of my clips. Well, let's get rid of that. I'm going to play some James Fox. Okay, let's see. I got a little bio on James Fox. Let me load up the thing. I'm going to be here 2 hours today. Oh, my God. I got too much material. Now, this is taken. I'll be right back. I got to hit the restroom. I'll be right back. Now, if you want to see the entire episode, it's on Redacted, and I have it on the description if you want to watch the episode. But I just took out what James Fox had to say. And so a little about, all right, here's James Fox's documentaries. Out of the Blue, I Know What I Saw, The Phenomenon, Moment of Contact. Now, The Phenomenon is the one I recommend. If you just want to get your feet wet on the UAP, alien, that's the one I would just watch. And if you can take that one, or take it or leave it, but if you like it, then you can watch the other ones. But the Phenomenon is really good, 2020. Moment of Contact, and then The Program. Those are his documentaries. And he's talked to congressmen and senators and that kind of thing. Where do I have his bio? Oh, here we go. Okay, his full name is James C. Fox. He's English-born American documentary filmmaker, a UFOologist, investigative work. Born April 1968, he spent over 3 decades producing documentaries that focus on eyewitnesses, often from military, government, and aviation professionals, alleged government cover-ups and specific UFO cases. So we're going to play this one. He emphasizes credible sources and insider accounts rather than pure speculation, which has earned him respect among many fields. What's earned his respect among many in the field as one of the more serious and disciplined voices. Boy, that wind is really howling. I hope it doesn't start raining. Okay, so James Fox, and if you want the whole thing, it's redacted, so I'm going to be playing the clip here.
We've been watching this story build for quite some time now, beginning with the first congressional hearings in 2022. Then we had 2023 with David Grush, and that was the first time we had serious allegations of crash retrieval and biologics, aliens, non-human intelligence. Then, of course, 2024, we had another whistleblower talk about crash retrieval. Of course, that was Lou Elizondo under oath to a bipartisan group of lawmakers. So we've been seeing this happen slowly. Excuse me, a lot of people feel frustrated because it's not happening fast enough. But I'll remind you guys that, I think it was like 2024, after the last congressional hearing, there was a senator who got up before the crowd and said, look, I know you feel that things aren't happening fast enough, but I want to remind you guys that this was Senator Rounds, that we are running a marathon. This is not a 100-yard dash. Now the current administration, it's the first time, it's unprecedented as far as I'm concerned, the president of the United States, directly out of the White House, just instructed, I know there's specific language that needs to be carefully crafted, and that's in the works, and there will be press conferences coming up with people part of the task force to craft said language so that the whistleblowers will feel more comfortable, but this is unprecedented. We have 2 presidents just in the last week or so talking about aliens. Yeah. Of course, President Obama walked it back a little bit, but President Trump's like, hey, he violated security, like he shouldn't have said that. It's like, wow, I'm watching this whole thing go down, and then of course, Truth Social, he makes this announcement. I'm very excited, and I think that it's going to take all of us to keep this momentum and hold their feet to the fire.
Okay, let me stop it there just so I don't get a copyright. Again, this is from Redacted. We'll come back to that. So it's becoming mainstream now. The government, we have the president involved. They're going to release something. And I was thinking, how would they do that? I think how they should do it is go with the Roswell cover-up thing and just tell the truth on Roswell, that crash in 1947. And that would, you got to, because once you start down that road, you're going to have to explain all of them, it'll be really interesting to see how they do it because once they open that door, you want to know more. And these guys, the ones that really There's a cottage industry of here of the YouTube channels are everywhere, and it'll be real interesting to see how they do it. Oh, look at this, AD never calling from the News Bros. Yeah, I gave you a promo over here. AD never calling Gampers. We are homogenous on the YouTube world, non-toxic and friendly to all. Well, that's good. But there will never be unity with people that are at war with themselves. They don't even like themselves. There will never be unity with certain people. Ain't going to happen. Time Lord, it was a weather balloon from Mars. But, you can run from it, but it's going to happen, and I think the more you know about it, the better. And then, of course, if you were spiritually centered, it's not going to affect you much. Now, those that aren't, they're searching. They don't know what to think. Let's continue.
President Obama walked it back a little bit, but President Trump's like, hey, he violated security. Like, he shouldn't have said that. It's like, wow, I'm watching this whole thing go down, and then to walk some evidence. They found a loophole. President Obama walked it back. It took all of us to keep this momentum and hold their feet to the fire. In 2017, in protest of excessive secrecy, Lou Elizondo, with the help of Chris Mellon and a couple of others, decided to walk some evidence. They found a loophole out of the Pentagon, literally in a briefcase, like X-Files style, and onto the front page of the New York Times. That's why it happened. And it's been the same thing that's been going on for decades. You've got some good people on the inside that feel that the public has a right to know what's going on. And I think one of the reasons why we're talking about aliens, and I had discussed this quite some time with a number of insiders. Look, the technology is going to remain classified, and I can tell you why. If that technology, obviously everyone admits that the exhibited technology flies the rings around our fastest jets, doesn't have any visible means of propulsion, that can hover, accelerate from the standstill, out of sight, in the blink of an eye, radical turns at high speed, yada, yada, yada. If they can weaponize that, then and put a nuke on there, that's, so I would imagine that whoever is in possession of this technology is going to keep it classified for national security reasons. But the fact that we're not alone, and the fact that we have biologics, which I'm absolutely convinced of, I mean, just Roswell alone, I've done other cases, for instance, the 1996 Virginia UFO incident. I'm absolutely convinced we have biologics, and those shouldn't be classified. I think the government can admit that we have those biologics. And by the way, I was told just recently a lot of them are on the East Coast, not too far from Washington, D.C. With sitting members of...
Okay, sorry for that, but I got to split this up. And if you want the full dialogue, it's over at Redacted is the name of the podcast. Not a podcast, the YouTube channel, Redacted. And it's in the description. There's a link to it. You can see it's in its entirety. Now, he mentioned a name there, Lou Elizondo. So I got a short bio on him. Lou Elizondo. He is best known, and I got a clip from him too. He's a former director of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, that would be known as ATIP. A secret Pentagon initiative in 1990 to 2010 investigated UAP encounters. Okay, that's his thing. In 2017, he resigned from the Department of Defense in protest over what he described as excessive secrecy, insufficient resources, and internal resistance to addressing UAP seriously. He then went public. So, and I can send this to you if you want it, but you kind of got to know the players, and some of the acronyms when you look at this stuff. Comment? I don't think so. He was too busy with young girls. Time Lord, did Epstein work with the aliens? No. He had a lot of rich guys was giving him money. Well, I think it was one of the NFL owners, as a matter of fact. back to, I hope I don't screw this up.
Congress just in January, and I was shocked. We had him, we had the forensic pathologist that did the autopsy on the deceased military officer, Marco Cheriz, who allegedly captured the creature. And like, you'd think just a few years ago, you'd go and meet with sitting members of Congress and talk about these stories. We had a crash witness. De Souza was there. And
he's talking about Virginia, Brazil.
Luna and Burchett, and there were some staff members, and Congressman Burleson were asking extremely intelligent, hyper-focused questions, taking it very seriously. We had an event 5 days later at the National Press Club. We had a sitting member of the Senate come and attend the event, give a speech. Burleson gave a speech. And not to say that, look, you're going to just believe them for the sake of believing them, but taking the allegations very seriously, asking pointed questions, and meeting with the witnesses, looking them in the eyes. I mean, that's a huge step in the right direction. And I can't think of a better crash retrieval case that we should stick our teeth in, because we've got a date, we've got location, and we have over 6 firsthand eyewitness testimony witnesses that came within a few feet of allegedly a being of non-human intelligence. You guys know that ultimately you're gonna realize, if you haven't already, that a very small percentage of these things are of non-human origin. And John Class, what are you going to do? Is there a plan to disclose that to the general public? Like, what are you guys going to do? I said, we're not going away. Like, this isn't going away. The phenomenon's been here. It's always been here. Like, it's coming out. And John looked at me, and he's very measured. And he said, James, I can't part my own hair without approval from the DOD. And you can quote me on that. Now, I'll just back up for a minute here, because we had a whistleblower, the former head of the CIA, back in, it was in the 60s in the New York Times, and it was Roscoe Hillenkotter, I believe. And he basically spilled the beans back, I think it was late 50s or early 60s, you can look them up, about like behind the, they make jokes and they think there's nothing to it. Behind the scenes, this is one of the serious issue. They're scrambling to come up with answers. Like, so there have been attempts multiple times over the decades to get this out to the general public. People that have worked on the inside and decided, hey, you know what? The general public has a right to know. People have consciences. People have children. They have grandchildren. I mean, Dr. Italo said, I'm doing this for future generations. I'm in my twilight years. I'm coming forward. I'm risking everything, my credibility, because I feel like the newer generations have a right to know. So people have consciousness. Like, and people will say, well, lose an insider. Well, yeah.
He didn't mean consciousness. People have consciences, is what he meant.
Okay, great. And he's an insider with, in my opinion, someone who believes he's doing it for the right reasons, and he's putting his ass on the line. What has he said that doesn't align with my 30 plus years in the field? Because I've been all over the world, and I've been recently doing crash retrieval stuff as well. I haven't heard him say anything. Obviously, there's the threat narrative, and I understand why they do that, because that gets attention to members of Congress. You've got something unidentified whizzing around with impunity, and particularly sensitive nuclear facilities and things of that nature. I think they use that as a sort of excuse and a hook, because I can assure you, if what David Fravor had seen had a Russian or a Chinese flag on it, it would be all hands on deck. I'm absolutely fascinated by the topic, and I'm curious.
I got to break it up. Again, I don't want to get I'll use sections of it. I had something else with him. What did I do with it? Excuse me while I go add something. Since we're talking about James Fox. The government's always been denying things, but they even go further than that. They will do psyops where they'll put out false information. And for example, here's one: the Pentagon disinformation that fueled America's UFO mythology. Now, this is a Wall Street Journal. In order, the U.S. military fabricated evidence of alien technology and allowed rumors to fester to cover up real secret weapons programs. Yeah, there's no aliens here. There's no there's no non-human intelligence. Nah, it's just the military. We're just working on our weapons over here. There's nothing to see here. There's nothing to see here. In fact, let's listen to the story from the Wall Street Journal.
The Pentagon disinformation that fueled America's UFO mythology. U.S. military fabricated evidence of alien technology and allowed rumors to fester to cover up real secret weapons programs. By Joel Skekman and Aruna Visvanatha. June 6, 2025, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. A tiny Pentagon office had spent months investigating conspiracy theories about secret Washington UFO programs when it uncovered a shocking truth. At least one of those theories had been fueled by the Pentagon itself. The congressionally ordered probe took investigators back to the 1980s, when an Air Force colonel visited a bar near Area 51, a top-secret site in the Nevada desert. He gave the owner photos of what might be flying saucers. The photos went up on the walls, and into the local lore went the idea that the U.S. military was secretly testing recovered alien technology. But the colonel was on a mission of disinformation. The photos were doctored. The now-retired officer confessed to the Pentagon investigators in 2023. The whole exercise was a ruse to protect what was really going on at Area 51. The Air Force was using the site to develop top-secret stealth fighters, viewed as a critical edge against the Soviet Union. Military leaders were worried that the programs might get exposed if locals somehow glimpsed a test flight of, say, the F-117 stealth fighter, an aircraft that truly did look out of this world. Better that they believe it came from Andromeda. This episode, reported now for the first time, was just one of a series of discoveries the Pentagon team made as it investigated decades of claims that Washington was hiding what it knew about extraterrestrial life. That effort culminated in a report released last year by the Defense Department that found allegations of a government cover-up to be baseless. In fact, a Wall Street Journal investigation reveals the report itself amounted to a cover-up, but not in the way the UFO conspiracy industry would have people believe. The public disclosure left out the truth behind some of the foundational myths about UFOs. The Pentagon itself sometimes deliberately fanned the flames in what amounted to the U.S. government targeting its own citizens with disinformation. To hear the full story, subscribe or sign in.
Thank you for that synopsis. And let's, only on the DOXX Report, we're going to have James Fox respond to that.
Well, all you got to do is read the headline to this article, and that sums it up right there. In fact, you don't need to go any further. That is part of the PSYOP. This article is exactly that. It's complete and utter hogwash. And I say this not just because, I believe the David Grushes and the Lou Elizondos that have testified to a bipartisan group of lawmakers that the phenomenon is not just that the phenomenon is real, but that we have definitive proof in the form of spacecraft, of crashed spaceships, and as they refer to biologics. I believe what I know to be true because I've gone around the world investigating the phenomenon, investigating landing cases, crash cases in Brazil. I've been to China, Russia, Australia, South America, Africa. The phenomenon is definitely real. They know it. They can't explain it. And quite honestly, they're in a corner right now. And this has got Sean Kirkpatrick's fingerprints all over it, as far as I'm concerned.
More, please.
So Sean Kirkpatrick ran AARO, which was the UAP task force, for a couple of years. He was working closely with Senator Gillibrand and I believe Rounds and Schumer. But he was, and I know this because I was working with firsthand witnesses that had already gone to AARO and testified in a skiff and given street addresses and names and locations of where this stuff is. And none of those detailed reports, classified detailed reports, wound up being even part of the presentation that he ultimately gave. I mean, it was Sean Kirkpatrick, bless his heart. I'm sure that he had the DOD, pretty much telling him how to do everything. His hands were tied, I'm guessing, but he just, it was a complete and utter waste of time. I think the new guy, John Klosklowski, who's running Arrow now, I think he's going to be a lot more transparent. Although he did tell me in a skiff a couple of months ago, I started saying, like, obviously you guys are going to come to the conclusion after a careful review of the data, especially the classified data, that we're dealing with some of this stuff as a non-human intelligence. And he looked at me, he didn't say no. He just goes, James, I can't part my hair without the DOD's approval. And you can quote me on that. Basically, what he was saying is, Congress has put me in charge of this organization to get to the bottom of it. But unfortunately, no matter what I uncover with the clearances I have, I'm not able to share that with the general public, or perhaps not even Congress, without the approval of the DOD.
Okay, he mentioned SCIF in there a couple times. What is SCIF? It stands for Sensitive Compartmented Information Facility. In context of the United States government, it's a highly secure, specially designed and accredited group of rooms, building, or installation used to handle, store, process, discuss, or electronically manage sensitive compartmented information, SCIA. Well, if it's a cover story, then why even bother with a SCIF, right? If there's nothing to the story, why bother with it? Let's see. SCI refers to a subset of classical national intelligence information, typically concerning deriving sensitive intelligence sources, methods, analytical, blah, 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 blah. Okay, back to the Wall Street Journal article, and we're going to continue with James Fox's thoughts on it.
Oh, for me, I take it personally sometimes because I know these individuals quite well. People like Robert Salas, the launch control officer, Minuteman missiles, height of the Cold War. These guys are so elite and so trained. I mean, my gosh, they got the finger on the nuclear weapons. For these guys to come forward, it's not exactly a career-enhancing move, and give testimony about what they experienced and what happened at their bases. I mean, think about these guys. These guys are responsible for pushing the launch control officers for a nuclear war. It's like, if that's not a credible report, I don't know what is. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, the phenomenon we feature, thanks to Robert Hastings, countless incidences where these objects are interfering with our nukes. They're shutting them off in most cases, flying over these installations, shutting them off, and then whizzing off with impunity. But I'll tell you, I'm telling you right now, the reason why we're seeing these types of articles is this is a significant pushback. These guys are not going to go out without a fight. And the revelation of this phenomenon, of this story, is going to be very difficult for them because, they've got technology. So they're going to have to admit that at some point. They're probably going to have to admit that the phenomenon is real, and yet they won't have. That exposes their vulnerabilities, right? So you've got these objects whizzing around with impunity. They fly rings around our fastest jets. Just talk to Dave Fravor, and yet they don't know who they are, where they come from, or what they want. So origins and intent, that's going to be something they don't want to reveal to the general public because, for obvious reasons, right? We're vulnerable.
Final thoughts on the article, James Fox.
Yeah. So just think about it. I ask your audience for a moment to suspend judgment, and let's pretend that it's all real. Okay, let's assume that they have crash retrieval material, they have bodies. That doesn't necessarily mean they have all the answers. Now, how are they going to disclose that to the general public without sharing that technology? Because let's face it, that technology, the observed technology of UFOs, and you can talk to any fighter pilot about this, dating back to the modern day wave of the 1940s. Some say obviously earlier than that. They fly rings around our fastest jets. They have no wings, no tail, no visible means of propulsion. They can hover. They can accelerate from a standstill to out of sight in the blink of an eye, right angle turns. If you can weaponize that technology, it's game over, right? So if the Russians, it's a race to see who can get to it first. So I kind of understand the national security aspect of the technology. We have to admit that we have it. I don't know exactly how we're going to prove that we have it, but that's up to them. But the fact that we're not alone, in my view, and in the view of many others that are pushing for more government transparency, is the right of every man, woman, and child on this planet. And that's one of the reasons why I continue pushing for more transparency.
There it is. We're not alone. You've never been alone. That's where the spiritual education should come in. Okay, that was his rebuttal to that article, or his, I guess the rebuttal would be a good word. Whoops. How do I get rid of that? Full view. All right, comments. Why not? Are you going for the laughs? Boy, I'd sure get out of New York. An alien, I don't think so. Let's see, DOXX, aren't you more concerned with the disappearance? Well, we covered that. McLobster. Good day, DOXX. Aren't you more concerned with the disappearance of General McCaslin? He had all, well, he didn't. He's claiming, the wife said he didn't. He has all the answers, and now he's chained up in a basement in Mar-a-Lago. He wouldn't be in Mar-a-Lago. He'd probably be foreign government, or something, but nobody knows. Very strange. I think, he took his wallet, his gun, and his hiking boots. So, don't know. I mean, the longer he's gone, it's not looking good, right? ED never calling. Gampers, DOXX, just to be clear, as a leader in the news business, you were saying you welcome the competition? Sure. But they're into glamour news. If you're talking about AD never calling and his Buddy Baba, the hand puppet, more the merrier. Why not? Not a problem. I welcome. In fact, I'll go over there once I know what their schedule is or how they. If it's in the middle of the night, I probably won't unless I get up and happen to catch it. Let's go back to James Fox.
Just by nature, I really want to know what's going on. And the other day, just a few months ago, I was at Age of Disclosure opening, and there was an individual there who's in.
Let me stop that right there. I really want to know what's going on. Well, forget the UFOs. How did we get here? Who put us here? You think the aliens are going to give you those answers? Unless they're not of this. Forget the dimension. They're not of the. The universe was created 4 billion years ago. So we all got, everything started at that point. Unless they're in a parallel universe. But you really want to know. And see, that's where the spirituality comes in. You've got a portal, your own portal, but you're looking for stuff on the ground or UFO bodies or aliens or spaceships. What about within yourself, right? The answers are all there. You're going to be more disappointed. They're going to release, the government's going to come out with, I think Trump, when he put it out there, they are going to release something. It won't be enough. It won't be enough for you. But a search for God is fulfilling.
Investigated in an official capacity the phenomenon for over 16 years. And I'm talking with this individual, and I could see Leslie Kane, she also attended the event, and I could see her on the other side of the room at this cocktail party after the movie ended. And I could see her looking at me, and she knew who I was talking to. She knew. And I said, I walked up to this individual and I said, I've heard that there are very few people on the planet that have the bigger picture of what's going on. This individual said, yeah, I'd say probably maybe 10 have the biggest part of the picture. That's the whole picture. I was like, 10? My
10
God.
people, that's it.
That's what he said. And then I said,
okay, you got to stop it there. Okay, that's Clayton Morris there. The other guy in the middle, I forgot his name, but he's in charge of MUFO, MUFO, which is a mutual UFO network, MUFON. But there's Clayton Morris on the left. This is his show on YouTube. It's the Redacted. There's a link in the description, and you can go listen to the entire process. But I only wanted to get what James Fox had to say.
Well, like you investigated in official capacity for over like 16 years. Like, how many would you consider yourself? Like one of how many? And he's like, probably one of 30. I was like, one of 30? My God. What about like Hal Puthoff and Eric Davis? He's like, maybe one of 50, maybe one of 100. Hard to say for sure. And then I said, well, I heard that I got a crowbar, man. I'm trying to pry information out of this individual, but he's
Like
very
we do.
guarded. And I said, well, I heard that the bigger picture is a little scary. And he goes, yeah, I could see that. And I was like, you can see that? Like, how can you see that? Like, give me some more. Like,
Yeah.
and I said, like, scary how? Like, oh, you don't need to be worried about your safety. No, and I said, well, how is it scary? He goes, probably the intent. I'm like, intent? Jesus. So then I said, well, like, I was going to say, like, what what about that? That's a little, and then this individual just like, somebody just from the crowd just walks up in between the two of us. And I look over at Leslie and I see her looking at me. And we had this immediate sort of telepathic communication, like it ended right there. So I didn't get to find out anything more than that. You look at what the phenomenon does, okay? And the phenomenon has made some pretty bold moves. I mean, you look at like Hudson Valley sightings, you look at Belgium wave in the late 80s, early 90s, you look at 1997 over Phoenix, Arizona. I mean, there were thousands of people that saw that incredible show of craft, of orbs. I mean, they've hovered over some games in Italy in the 50s. I mean, they've done some pretty like overt, we're here kind of things, not to the point where it would, be hover over the Macy's Day Parade or something, or the next Super Bowl.
That's a very good point. They're subtle, as much as they can be subtle. Again, fair use. I'm just playing portions of the Redacted YouTube channel. If you'd like to see it, I'm going to keep repeating this just so I don't get a strike. Gampers. Or, let's see, Docs, he wants the leader in the news business. Or, as some sources have said, have you returned to assert your dominance and crush the competition, sack the puppet? Buddy Baba? No, I wouldn't. No, that's Patrick's buddy, Buddy Baba. No, there's room for everybody. People get to choose. I think competition is good. It'd be really interesting when Morty, when he decides, what do you think of that, Morty? You got a decamillionaire. Is he going to monetize his channel? Yeah, AD calling? That's kind of, that may upset some people. So let's, interesting point that James Fox made with the aliens. I think everything I've seen, they've been here for millennia. And if they wanted to, whatever they wanted, they could have had it, whatever they wanted. If they want to pick up people, we'd never know it. I don't know what they're here for. So as my title, I have to get to my title here. Incident Guide. I haven't shown you the incident guide. But I can't, let's see, I can't remove, got to finish here, James Fox. We're almost done with it. And then I'll show you these famous incidents.
But they've made some pretty bold moves. But they haven't made their presence overtly, unequivocally, beyond a shadow of doubt, known. Certainly not to the general public. Obviously, the military might be a completely different story. But so you look at that and you think, all right, well, they too are in on the secrecy. Now, why would they be in on the secrecy? Actually, just an hour or so ago.
Now, did you catch that? Why would the aliens themselves be in on the secrecy? Well, because when we get to the major incidents, there's an episode where they actually talk to the military. So isn't that, that's my answer to that. Why would they be on this? Because they made some agreements, right? That's what I'm thinking. Why would the aliens be involved with the secrecy?
I spoke directly with a sitting member of Congress, part of the task force, who said the current administration, the Trump administration, executive branch are because this individual had street addresses and names of different companies where allegedly these goodies, the reverse engineering that's going on, is being kept. And so the current administration is providing access, saying give this individual access. This individual, along with a couple other people, are going to these locations. It's a big step in the right direction. Obviously,
it really is.
If Lockheed wants to just tuck this away somewhere, but they have very specific spots they're going to. They're going to look for evidence if something was recently moved or what's going on in these particular hangars. So that's happening. And also paralleling that is there's going to be a press conference coming up soon with city members of Congress, part of the task force from both parties, Democrats and Republicans. And they are in the process right now of crafting the language that needs to come out of the office of the President of the United States. And that language will provided President Trump is willing to use that language, that will provide additional security, protection, immunity for the following whistleblowers. So it is a work in progress, but it's happening, and I'm very optimistic about it. But the members of Congress really need to hear from us. They need to know that we have their support, or we are supporting their efforts. I think it's incredibly important that the president knows how many people out there are watching this. Just to reach out, take a few minutes, contact different representatives and say, we really appreciate your push on further transparency on this topic. It's important to us. I interviewed Gerald Ford briefly.
Wow. I think that no matter what they release, people that have really looked at this, they're not going to be happy with what they get. And I think those that have done zero homework, they're not going to believe any of it, right? They're already denying the moon landing, right, and other things that the government comes up with. So, I mean, look at Tommy. Tommy's first comment was, "Oh, let the proper programming begin." So they're not going to accept this. So those that have done nothing are not going to believe it, and those all the way that have done their homework, it's not going to be enough. I'm in the middle. I have already accepted it, and it doesn't threaten my, quote, Christianity at all. Comments? Let's see, I don't know. Well, I was going to come on and ask you questions on, what do you want to accomplish? Are you going to monetize? But I don't know when your next show is. And I sent you an email and asked you for the address, and you didn't give it to me. But here, let me give you, for those that want to know, the News Brothers show with the Buddy Baba, the hand puppet, and Patrick, never sleeping. News at News Bros Show on YouTube, okay? And here's AD never calling. I don't know, Gampers. It seems Doc should come on the News Bros Show to explain his new format. I tried to because I couldn't go live because I screwed up. I didn't have my I didn't know if anybody got the messages or the alerts. His new format is eerily similar to our own non-Archieverse news. There's so much material out there. It's raining. Can you believe that? Maybe I got to take the camera in. Do I trust it? It's my iPhone 17 Pro. It's raining already. As long as it's not dripping on it. Can you hold for a second? Let me go look real quick. Boy, those are some big drops, too. Those are big drops. Let me check the weather real quick, the radar. Maybe it's just passing through. Come on. Radar. There's a tornado watch actually too. It'll pass. It's just a tip of it. Well, I'll talk about the Archieverse. I did a little bit earlier. But new channels, there's so much material out there. Now, if you set up a diner or you start talking about aliens and UFO, well, go ahead, I guess. Well, this is interesting. See, I can't figure him out. Him and his wife. Well, now we're talking about Clayton, and I'm using some of his material. I got a bio on him. Let me go to his bio here. Clayton Morris. Now this is from Grok. Okay, I don't hire investigators, none of that stuff, or I don't dox. I'm not a hacker. I'm a data miner. But now that I got Grok, they're pretty good. So the Redacted YouTube channel, typically stylized as Redacted or Redacted News, found at YouTube at Redacted News, okay? The news and commentary channel focus on topics like geopolitics, finance, legal issues, social matters, and fighting mainstream media narratives or propaganda. I just noticed him and his wife, they never smile. There's no joy in their life. I mean, Tucker Carlson will laugh, but I don't think he's a very joyous person either. I don't know where they're coming from sometimes. It's like, they're doing these headlines and like, oh, Israel's in trouble and what the government's not telling you and all this stuff. And like, really? I don't know. Maybe I have to watch more of it. It's co-hosted by Clayton Morris and his wife. Let's see. Okay. Now, quote, it's a concerted effort to save the truth, preserve information, and fight propaganda. Well, what is propaganda? Fake news, that's propaganda. Well, you think everything that, I don't know, when they give the military is up there making pronouncements, it's like if they're lying to the world, people are going to catch it. You get caught once, like the media, it's over for them. Truth, what is the truth? There's only one truth. And now, if you don't believe in God, then you're in trouble. Clayton Morris, born December 31st. Let's see, I don't have to tell you that. Okay, he's a former, he looked familiar to me, but he was a gadget guy years ago, as I recall. Former television news anchor, notably Fox News. He co-hosted Fox and Friends, 2008, 2017. Good Day Philadelphia, segments on technology, other shows like Red Eye. He left Fox News in 2017 to pursue independent media, real estate investing, entrepreneurship. Okay, real estate investor, real estate. Okay, you don't need to know about his wife. He did graduate University of Pittsburgh class of 1999, and then you don't need to know his personal stuff. So that's Clayton Morris, and I thank him for allowing me to, even though I didn't check with him, to play that. I follow Clayton's morning investment. I go broke following his advice. Well, you got to know what you're doing. I get calls from professional Vanguard advisors. I don't take their call. They're younger than I am. And if I were to take their call, I'd say, ask them first, how much money you got? Because they're trying to make money. And I have to understand, I make my own choices. I can live with my mistakes. If I make a mistake, okay, then it's on me, but not somebody advising me. And there's some poor woman, she was a star, her and her husband, they made money. Was she a model? I can't remember. Or a singer, maybe a model. And she's lost everything. Because she trusted somebody else. You didn't know, like these athletes. If you're new to money, just open an IRA, just open a Vanguard account and just put an S&P 500. Save it. Put it in savings. Well, I'm only making 1% interest. Yeah, but you still would have still had it today. You would have put your millions there, you'd still have it today. Let's see, where did I leave off? Okay, that was on Clayton Morris, McLobster. Doc, do you really believe McCaskill, who was the head of material science for the Air Force, wouldn't have information about alien craft if we had one? Absurd. Well, we know all about the material. We can't replicate it because it's on atomic structures, the way I see it, what I've learned on it, and it repels gravity or something, but it's atomically aligned. We have no idea how to manufacture it, how to make it. But either if a foreign government took him, yeah, I could see that. But maybe, well, I don't want to mention that. I don't want to cause an international. I'm not going to mention what countries. But but if he had a health issue, I think it's more. What's the word? That if he had a health diagnosis, he said, you know what, I'm not waiting around for it. He took his .38 revolver, his hiking shoes, and his wallet. That's gone. Also, never fear, greedy YouTubers, we won't monetize. Oh, you heard it here. All right, on the record. AD is on the record. We'll see. We'll see what happens. What if Buddy Baba goes, hey, Patrick, I need the money. Come on. We don't know the status. He's very secretive. The hand puppet is very secretive. But here's the record. The channel owner, AD never calling, never fear greedy YouTubers. He's speaking for the hand puppet. Uh-oh. You better check with him. Better check. He may need the money. To flee the country. Is that why he had to flee the country, Time Lord? No, he disappeared. Without anything, without telling his wife. Well, come over there. When are you streaming next? I was going to. In fact, I was looking for you to stream because I wanted to announce to everybody I can't get back on until I get my material back up. In all seriousness, Docs, we would be honored to have you on as long as Morty's not on with me. No, that's a joke. But I don't do panels. So it's just you, me, and the hand puppet. As soon as somebody else comes on, then it becomes a panel, and I'll have to jump. Oh, Space Force. The Time Lord. Space Force was formed to deal with the aliens. Well, I think it encompasses a lot of things. I believe, let's see, I joined News Bros. Time Lord. I joined it. See, I brought you somebody over there already. I joined News Bros. Again, for those that want to join. It's at the News Bros show. And then just hit the subscribe button and you're all set. They're just entertainers, the McLobster says, not serious news anchors. AD and Baba. Really? Okay. Patrick says Baba, Buddy Baba, made it clear if we monetize, he's gone. Okay. We're in agreement, says. Okay. There you go. On the record. This is part of the record now. The cops include... Well, she wouldn't specify. Let me go look again. Let me go look. I have her statement here. Okay, here's her statement. Susan McCaskill Wilkerson, the wife. The only thing she says here, the initial civil alert from BCSO mentioned medical conditions, which some have taken to mean Alzheimer's. Neil is at some risk, but not from dementia. Well, now that's interesting. He's at some risk, so maybe he shows some symptoms. Between you and me, I don't want to say. He took his 38 special, his 38 revolver with him. Okay. But not from dementia. He was not confused and disoriented. Now, that's all she says about it. And I told you what she said at the end of it, which I thought was like, that's not appropriate. Your husband's missing and you're talking about a mothership. I mean, come on. That's not the time. She didn't say what the health issues were. And it's HIPAA. I don't know. No, I can't. Come on, Time Lord. I'm not putting that up there. But if a guy would have said that, it's like, geez. Where's your wife? I don't know. Maybe the mothership took her. Ding, 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 ding. Red flag, red flag. All right, let's finish up with Mr. Fox and the Redacted YouTube channel. There's Clayton Morse on the left. This guy in the middle is in charge of the Mutual UFO Network, and Mr. Fox on the end.
He had pushed for congressional hearings in the 60s when that now infamous clip of Dr. Jalen Hynek just does a dismissive characterization of alleged landings that took place in Michigan in 1966. And as a result of that, he called it swamp gas. Maybe they're seeing swamp gas. Like, oh my God. And so he gave me the interview, but then I asked him about during his presidency. Did you find out anything more during your presidency? And he was like, he just stopped me dead in my tracks there. I'm not going to talk about that at all. Then I interviewed with people part of the task force to craft said language so that.
I'm sorry.
A handful of others during in labs with.
I'm sorry. I got to.
Hynek just does a.
Okay, I lost my place there, but he's talking about Gerald Ford on this one.
A dismissive characterization of alleged landings that took place in Michigan in 1966. And as a result of that, he called it swamp gas. Maybe they're seeing swamp gas. Like, oh my God. And so he gave me the interview, but then I asked him about during his presidency. Did you find out anything more during your presidency? And he was like, he just stopped me dead in my tracks there. I'm not going to talk about that at all. Then I interviewed Jimmy Carter. I got him at a book signing in the late 90s, and I got him to admit that he'd seen the UFO and that he'd looked into it during his presidency and essentially said, oh, we weren't happy with the answer we were getting, or we were getting different answers. And you could see his frustration clearly. And then I was trying to get direct access to President Clinton, and through Podesta and a handful of others during his administration, they said that they did make inquiries, particularly with a laser-like focus into Roswell, and that they were absolutely not happy with the answers they were getting. So
they were stonewalled.
They were stonewalled. So I became But one more thing I want to mention quickly is that I am friends with an individual who sat in the room in a SCIF, a sensitive compartmentalized information facility, with Senator Rubio when he was senator at the time, Secretary of State now, but when he was senator at the time, with people with impeccable credentials, intelligence folks that are claiming to be working firsthand in labs with alien technology. Now, as a filmmaker, I ask these individuals, God, put me in the room. What was it like when what was it like when you guys were hearing this stuff? This is amazing. This is a firsthand witness. Clearly you guys vetted the credentials. Like, what? Put me in the room. Very intense, very sober, very serious, like slowly trying to wrap their mind around, holy shit, this is probably happening. How do we get this information out? How do we process this information? So what I'm curious, and I don't know the answer to this, and if anybody else gets the opportunity to speak or ask questions to Rubio or President Trump, is does Rubio know more than President Trump? Or has Rubio briefed President Trump? Or has Rubio tracked down those firsthand witnesses in labs and got them directly in a SCIF with Trump? I don't know if they have to be in a SCIF or where they'd have to be. But Trump, I'm told, does have the ability with the stroke of a pen to provide immunity to these firsthand witnesses. And I think that that's what we should be focusing on, is what can President Trump do to protect these folks? What language needs to be written? What does he need to actually say? Because when he said what he said on Truth Social, that was very encouraging. A lot of people were happy about it. But I talked to firsthand intelligence folks, and they said, it's a great move in the right direction, but he actually needs to say X, Y, and Z, and that'll make us feel a lot more protected. So that language is currently being crafted carefully right now, and there's going to be a press conference, a press conference coming up with members of Congress, and I'm told that's happening fairly soon.
All right, that's it. That's the end of it. Thank you to Redacted on YouTube, and the link is in the description, and you can go listen to the entire episode. Now, share screen. I got a lot of material today. I've been saving up, probably enough for 2 shows. I'm going to get them all done so I can start something new. And I will get to the comments. Don't you worry. I will get to the comments. Okay. As it says in my incident guide, these are, you should do your own homework. Don't believe what I have to say or anybody else. You can go on to Grok. You can go, well, they give a counter to it, like, the allegations or something. So here we go. The number one, these are the you're not going to see trailers in Mississippi or Alabama. These are number one. Remember Gordon Cooper, the astronaut, Mercury astronaut, 1951. He was orbiting in Germany. He had sightings of UFOs in Germany. He made a report on it. Now, they took him seriously because they let him become an astronaut. Right? You would kind of question his mental health, right? If he was seeing things. And then his claim in his autobiography, there was a filming of a UFO landing at Edwards Air Force Base in 1957. Okay, a filming. Now, how many people have seen that film? Like earlier, James Fox said, what, maybe 30, maybe less than that. And it's compartmentalized. Because I'm going to get to one of the comments that people knows more. No, they compartmentalize, so you only know what you need to know. You don't see the whole picture, right? So if they call you in, like the engineer in 51, they call you in. You just got to work on this part of it. You don't know what else is going on, right? Which kind of stonewalls the progress you can make. So there's Gordon Cooper. Look it up. Put in Gordon Cooper, UAP, UFO, and do a little bit of homework. Papua New Guinea, June 1959, Australia, missionary Reverend William Gill. Look it up. Do your homework on it. Don't believe me. Now, why would a missionary lie? Okay? I'm just giving you how did I title this? Incident guide. Very famous UAP incident guide that you can research. Do your own. But if you're going to just read the newspapers or see what the government puts out, to make it, oh no, nothing to see here, nothing to see here. There's swamp gas, nothing to see here. This is a pilot, Kenneth Arnold, sighting June 24, 1947, near Mount Rainier, Washington, USA. Very well documented. And of course, Roswell incident, July 1947, Roswell, New Mexico, USA. Just do your homework on that. The chief information officer, he recanted everything he said. He was told, I had to say that. And he went back to the alleged crash sighting. He said it was full of debris. See, I think if they were to just take one incident, but here's the problem. If they take the Roswell incident, Trump will say, okay, I'm going to tell you everything about Roswell, everything. But then now the guys that I would just played you, they're going to go, well, what about this incident? What about this? Then this, then no. They should do is just take one and say, I'm only going through this just to let you know it's real. Not all of them are real, and we're not going to tell you which ones are or not, but the aliens are real, UAPs are real. We don't know where they're from. But again, it'd be real interesting to see how Trump handles this. The Roswell incident. Multiple radar contacts, visual sighting, Washington, D.C., July 1952. Look it up. And here's probably my favorite, the Holloman Air Force Base, New Mexico, United States of America, UFO incident. This one has it all, baby. This is the top one as far as I'm concerned. The 3 craft come down. One craft opens up. An alien walks down, gets in a Jeep with military officers and goes to the hangar. And they have a sit down. Now, remember what James Fox says. Why are aliens in on the secrecy? Maybe because they have an agreement with the United States of America. This is my favorite one. And not only that, but they have a high-definition 16-millimeter film of him. The hatch opening up, alien walking down, gets in the Jeep, and they go off. There it is. Craft landing, aliens emerging, a high-definition 16-millimeter film is believed to exist of the incident. Do your homework. Australia, April 6, 1966, West Hall School, Melbourne, Victoria. Look it up. UAP. The Maelstrom Air Force Base, Montana, 1967. Oh, what kind of air base is in Montana? The ICBMs. They come over and everything shuts down. Sightings. This is our defense program. UAP comes over and it just everything turns off. Look it up. Maelstrom Air Force Base, Montana, 67. United States Air Force personnel at Royal Air Force Woodbridge Bentwaters, Rendlesham Forest incident, December 1980, Suffolk, England, United Kingdom. Hey, Tommy, it's not Alabama. It's not Mississippi. It's not Florida. Look it up. Over 13,000 witnesses, including police, Belgium UFO wave, November 1989 to April 1990, Belgium. Calvin, Scotland, 1990. I think maybe Jock wants to see that. See, Jock can't hardly believe it. Jock and Princess, Blondie, Princess Peach. Clearest photo, Calvin, Scotland, 1990, clearest photo ever of a UFO UAP. 1994, Zimbabwe. Military sighting, multiple sightings, aerial school, Ruwa, Zimbabwe, 64 children. Now, a child wouldn't lie. 64 children would lie to you. Interviewed in front of a camera. Okay, here's the famous one. This is the film, the Varginha, Brazil, UFO incident in Brazil, 1996. UAP, there was a crash. Alien biologics were running around town and captured. And they were treated. The one military guy was handling one of them. He died of some kind of bacterial infection they've never seen before. And then the Brazil, I guess, the CIA contacted him, and a black airplane came down and took the bodies back to America, the military. A lot going on there. And there's a film on it. But the first film I would see was the one I recommended, not this one. This one's kind of hard. Thousands witness Phoenix Lights, March 1997, Phoenix, Arizona. Thousands of people watched it. And it just floated down the gigantic black triangle, the entire length. The governor then went on and made a joke about it, like, he had one of his aides dressed up as an alien. But then he later recounted that. He said, we didn't know what to tell him. Yeah, we all saw it, but we didn't know what to tell him. What are we going to tell the people? We don't know what it is. Nimitz, the Tic Tac incident, November 20, 2004, off San Diego. Look it up. United Airlines employees, and this is where Tim Pool comes in. United Airlines employees and pilots witnessed Chicago Airport sighting November 7th, 2006, Chicago. And I have I looked it up there's a executive summary on the on the website called The Black Vault. On November 7th, 2006, around 4:15 p.m. local time, a group of United Airlines employees at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport reported seeing a mysterious, unidentified flying object hovering over gate C-17 in the United Terminal. The object was described as metallic, disc-shaped craft, dark gray in color, about 6 to 24 feet in diameter, and it was completely silent. After several minutes of hovering below a low cloud ceiling, the disc abruptly shot upward at high velocity, punching a crisp circular hole through the clouds before disappearing. An occurrence witness described it as like somebody punched a hole in the sky. Despite multiple credible eyewitness accounts, including airport pilots, mechanics, and managers, the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, initially denied any knowledge of the incident and declined to investigate, later suggesting that the sighting was caused by a weather phenomenon. To this day, the O'Hare Airport UFO encounter remains unexplained and is often cited as one of the most notable UFO sightings of the 21st century, raising questions about aviation safety and how such incidents are handled by authorities. Well, the FAA, what are they going to do? There's no crash. What can they do? Which leads me to let's get rid of this, remove that. Let's get rid of Blondie and Jock. Tim Pool. Tim Pool, there he is.
Do you know about the O'Hare Airport sighting? So this was, I think, in like 06. At Chicago's International O'Hare, a UFO came down and hovered for a few minutes, I think, and then shot straight, punched a hole in the clouds. Everybody saw it happen. Now, I had just quit working at O'Hare around this time when the sighting happened, so I had friends who were still there. I had a friend tell me that when this UFO came down, people on Mannheim Road, which is the road on the side of O'Hare, got out of their cars, like just stopped at the light, got up, and were looking and staring at it. And that the people who were working, where we worked for American Eagle Airlines, walked out of the rooms and were just staring at it float and then shoot up and punch a hole in the cloud.
No, there's nothing to see here. Nah, come on, Tommy, there's nothing to see there. No, of course not. Oh, a lot of comments here. Now we can get to the comments. Mac Lobster, they're just entertainers, not serious news anchors. AD and Buddy Baba, really? No monetization. Okay, we're in agreement. Okay, DOXX, Gampers, you left out the fact that cops included a civil alert for missing generals. So were his health issues? So we went over that. She wouldn't say. I can't put that up there, Time Lord. If it's foul play, eventually they look at that. I mean, she had to go to a doctor's office, I believe, at 11. She came home at noon, and he was gone. Did he say where he was going or what? I don't know. You know, maybe he had a senior moment, or he didn't like the fact that he. Listen, there's some very patriotic people. Okay. Let's say if I was in that position and I'm starting to lose it. I don't know. Maybe he took his life. I don't know. There you go. McAlopson, I think he was getting ready for a hike. Doorbell rang. And, don't you think they have a Ring doorbell or something there? They got to have film of him walking away. I got a Ring doorbell. When I'm out there doing yard work, what's the last time we've seen him? Where was DOXX Report? He was pulling weeds here in the front. In fact, when the mailman goes by, it activates the doorbell. I get to view. I see when my mail has arrived. I think he was getting ready for a hike. A doorbell rang and he got thrown in a van. Why need a wallet to commit suicide? You got to be identified. You want to be identified. You don't know how long you're going to be there. And why leave the house to do it? You don't want to put that in your house. Your spouse to come home to that. You wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't think. Well, it's a big desert out there, and he could be. He did it behind a rock, just in plain sight. until you see him, right? If he wanted to be identified, it would have already happened. He would have done it somewhere he would be found. I don't know. McLeod says, see how the stories don't mesh? Well, as right now, it's a mystery. More to develop. Oh, overall, I think he does. I think Rubio's been briefed on everything. McCaslin, if you're in the military or you've got certain areas of expertise, they don't show you the whole thing. That's part of the problem why a scientist should be released to the general science academia, so you have a lot of people looking at the same problem. But here you bring in, what was the guy's name? The engineer. He came in on the propulsion thing of it. The one who George Knapp interviewed. What's his name? I forgot his name. He only knew one aspect of it. It was the propulsion. He worked on one thing. That's all they worked on. He didn't get to see the big picture. But I would think Rubio knows more than the general does. Yeah, maybe not in a specific area like the materials, but overall, I think he does. Time limit. I'll put that up there. McLobster, whether it's coincidental or not, McCastle's disappearance will have a chilling effect on anyone who knows anything about alien tech. I don't know. Hope you save some money. So they never hope you save some money. Who, me? I spent it all on the car. I hope everybody saves money. That's my advice. Be working, get a job. And Timmy, man, if you're over on Big Boss Man Curly's show begging for money, that should tell you something there. It's time to get out. Time to move on. Time to get. Why don't one of your high roller friends like Sean teach you how to sell cars? Learn something. Go to work. Punch a time clock. Red Hot. How did you get over here? Hello, Docs. I am bended. No, you're here. Thank God you're not dead on YouTube. Why? So now you can do more material on me? Time Lord, we cannot handle the truth, the aliens. Well, you know it, and if they come out, just one incident, like the alien came down off they got the film, and they say, all we can tell you is it's real. The people won't believe it. People don't believe the moon landing. How are they going to believe alien? They just won't. And now, you just say it's AI. It's fake. Drone technology is based off alien technology. Could be, or night vision, or fiber optics, or carbon fiber. I looked up carbon fiber, and I said it was like in Ohio. It was stumbled upon in 1950 something. I go, nah, you kind of knew what to look for. Like even the integrated circuit, if you believe the colonel on the Roswell incident. He said they took it to a private manufacturer and say, hey, can you, it saved. They claim it saved like 150 years to find this and how to do a circuit board. Possible. Faith in Time. This is not a friendly chat. Nice overlay. Now that's live feed there. Faith in Time. This is not a very friendly chat. Well, this is the way the world is. I'm in this world, and this is the way the world is. But not of it, and that would be over on X. Time Lord, Prime Directive. They've been here thousands of years. How long is it going to take them to do it? How long is it going to take them to figure out we're primitive? They could take anything they wanted. I don't know why they're, First, secretly observe a culture to assess their society, technology, and willingness to accept alien life. They've been here for thousands of years, apparently. So what are they waiting for? Boris, what most people see is likely just military testing new technologies. Well, that's what they want you to believe. That's the Wall Street Journal article. Nah, there's too many people now. Cat's out of the bag. And they're going to release some information and which they can never walk back. AD never calling and laughing at. Let's see. Hello, Patrick. Oh, no, he's mad at me. DOXX, if you're going to be a conspiracist, well, I don't think I am. McLobster, DOXX, if you're going to be not a conspiracist, I'm looking at I watched the films. I saw the evidence they laid out, and it was very convincing. It was very something to it. And the fact that it goes, if you're talking about UAPs and aliens, the fact that it goes has a Senate, you got airmen now on the Nimitz. You got fighter pilots that lock in on them. That's not a conspiracy. You're going to be a conspiracist, you got to go all the way, man. Commitment, truth, Walmart. Oh, I got to give you credit for that one. Hang on. Man, you got to go all the way, man. Commitment, truth, Walmart. No, because it's going to tumble. I would never buy an electric car. I would never buy solar panels. Boris, will the cost of gas push manufacturing? No, I remember when I was at Costco in Las Vegas, when Obama was in, premium was over $5 a gallon. To push manufacturers to invest heavily into EV technology. No, I guess once we run out of fuel, some new energy comes along. But I would never buy an electric vehicle. Mark T. Does DOXX exist in the universe? Empirical science says yeah. You really don't? Okay, I don't want you over here. Once, okay, but I can't let you hang over here. You cannot, there's no unity with anyone that is at war with himself. And that would be you. Yeah, but they were forced to by government edict. The automakers already did invest heavily into EV and lost their ass, according to recent findings. I know, because the government's trying to make you cannot replace a government dictates, edicts, you cannot replace the marketplace. If it's marketable, if there's a demand for it, well, let's wait. Let's wait till there's a demand for it. McLobster, Red Odds, the aliens have been waiting for unity. The time is now. No time like again, there will never be unity with anyone that's at war with himself. Okay, and we're going, man, I got the energy levels are high. Maybe I shouldn't work out more often. Let's see. Mark T. Oatmeal, good for you, but boring. Unity. Okay. I haven't even got to the Trump material. And I got to get rid of this UAP stuff first. Because it has a spiritual tone to it. Now I'm going to tell you about Newsmax. I think it's Newsmax. Ross Coulthart. And you'll recognize him if you watch any Newsmax bios. Here he is. Let's see. He's an investigative journalist who works for News Nation, not Newsmax. I stand corrected. News Nation. Often appearing on shows like Reality Check, has made claims about personally visiting a location he believes is a real portal. Oh, he's talking about a portal. Okay. Let's have a listen to Ross. Ross, you're up.
But just one thing I want to throw out here, and I want to cause a bit of mischief with the US government. I've just been somewhere in the United States where I know there is another portal, and I know the United States knows about it. And I was there just the other day. And guess what? It's got a big fence around it, lots of security signs. It's supposedly US Forest Service. But you know what? It's not. And it's supposedly ancient ruins of tribal art. And you know what? It's not. What's happening is that the United States is using the US Forest Service and claims of the protection of archaeological relics to keep secret from the public a portal on US soil. There, Megan.
A portal. Well, I'm here to tell you, you already have a portal. It's within yourself. It's called consciousness. That's where the spiritually centered, that's where meditation comes in. But you're not, you got to go within. It's a lot more fascinating than a portal in Grand Canyon, the bottom of the Grand Canyon, okay? A portal for what? I wouldn't, a UFO, UAP portal. There's so much more that you don't know about yourself. And so the reason I played that Ross one, because he talked about a portal. And I'm telling you, and biblically and across religions, you have a portal within you. Louis Elizondo, and I mentioned his bio earlier.
Well, what was told to me point blank was, Lou, have you read your Bible lately? And I said, well, I thought I was, pretty familiar with it. Why? And he said, well, then you would know, because what we're dealing with are demons and we shouldn't be looking into them. And that was the extent of that conversation I had with a senior leader in the U.S. government. But there were others as well who felt the same way. There's a lot of people that also can point to the Bible, and they'll talk about Ezekiel's wheel, right, as being actually an interpretation of an encounter with a UAP. So I spent some time at the Vatican, and I'll share this. That was kind of interesting, and I'll make it quick. There they opened a scroll. It was a very old parchment. It was in Latin, and one of the senior academics there at the Vatican said, "Look here, read this part." And it talked about eclipus. Eclipus is a Latin word for, think of eclipse, and it was the word they were using for the Roman shields, because the Roman shields were round and lenticular. They looked, I guess, like suns. And he said, here it is. And this was a discussion between a Roman soldier and a Roman general, where they described these flaming Roman shields in the sky that would follow them from battle space to battle space. And so, this is going way back, and this is a document that's in the possession of the Vatican itself. So the Vatican has also had a deep interest in this topic. The last pope actually said, I believe, several years ago, that we should not be surprised that life exists and is abundant in the universe. That God has the ability to create as many species as he wants. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we are any less special.
I thought I was made in God's image. Of course, that means a lot of different things. Have you read your Bible lately? Yeah. Demons, that sounds like Tucker talk. I don't know. Do demons need metallic vehicles? We got demons walking the earth. Narc. Did I say narc? Can I get a reaction out of somebody? Let's see. Where are they? Where's Princess? There's Princess Peach and Mario. But you want to call them Blondie and Jock, that's okay with me. Interesting. So, you are, know ye not, you are the holy temple of God. There's your portal right there. You go within yourself. But it's interesting. They're talking demons now. Have you read your Bible? In portals. Robert Bigelow. Now, this guy is a billionaire, okay? He spent more money. In fact, I've got a bio on him, too. Where's my bio on him? No, I don't. But you should. Robert Bigelow. He spent more money doing of his own money searching UFO information or studying than anybody. Mr. Bigelow.
Regardless of
Let me do this properly. Let me get rid of the background for you, Mr. Bigelow. I'm sorry.
regardless of where the extraterrestrial life is from, doesn't matter. Any place in our galaxy, any place in the universe serves. They are servants and serve for their own good reasons a supreme consciousness. And that supreme consciousness is a creator of everything that we can see, detect, or come in contact with. And that all of that only represents 5% of the energy in the universe, and the other 95%, we don't know what that is.
Supreme consciousness. Interesting. Isn't that another term for infinite intelligence or God? Robert Bigelow, a billionaire. And I got to take another break here. I'll be right back. Oh, I lost my music. Hang on. I don't want to leave you just without music. Yeah, Robert Bigelow said quite a bit there. I'm going to save that one. You should replay that one. Very interesting what the billionaire has to say. Following behind on the comments. Let's go. Let's see. Well, I don't know how you define that. I've been to therapy. That never came up. I'm easy to explain. I'm an adult child of an alcoholic. Docs, you're the biggest narcissistic personality disorder. Maybe you should judge yourself first. Who am I judging? I'm observing. I get to choose who I can associate with. Are you telling me I can't choose who I can associate with? I hope you're not saying that. AD never calling. I think unity is exciting. Well, maybe a unity with the Ayatollahs. Huh? You think that's possible? You want unity with the Ayatollahs? Is that possible? It's not possible. I'm talking about the real Ayatollahs, the Iranian Ayatollahs. Unity? There's no unity. There's no unity with an NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. That's true. There's no love either. There's no friendship either. They're not capable of that. They don't understand it, for one thing. Mock Lobster, unity can perform better than any UFO, but it isn't sexy. Unity, huh? This is how you treat your cleaning lady. Who is this, Curly? Is this Curly? How do I treat my... I think Curly wanted me to give her my... put the house in the will for her. Well, how do you know how I treat her? I'm very pleasant with her. Get rid of you. Faith in time. Get rid of you. Maybe this is not the channel for you. Curly opened another account. Yeah, I'm easy to understand. One time I was an old bottle. You can't put new wine in an old bottle. I went to therapy, and I had to get that cleaned out. AD never calling for the... This is all Art Bell bullshit. You know, I wish he were alive today. If you would have told him back when he started that you're going to have congressional hearings on UFOs, he would say, no way. I think he's been vindicated. Maybe it doesn't now. Full disclosure, I think we all know this. AD Never Calling is a practicing Catholic. So the Catholicism. I don't think it's a threat really to anything, but who knows? Yeah, I've seen the interview. I thought it was fascinating. Now, of all the people, he would know, he had a personal relationship with, and did a deal with Senator Harry Reid. In fact, I'd like to play that one again. But for him to come out and say they serve a supreme consciousness, he didn't use the term, well, that would be God, infinite intelligence, or the supreme consciousness, that which is over all. It's just another thing. We can call it whatever you want. Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, Krishna consciousness. And they've been here for thousands of years. And now they have hurt some people, apparently, but I don't know. Hey, Patrick, it's a hokey, kooky crap. You got to deal with it. You just go, listen, all I ask you to do. Now, Tenzil did it. He was man enough. Go check out one film. It's on YouTube. It's free. The Phenomenon, right in the middle there. The Phenomenon, 2020. That's the year. You go look for Phenomenon, James Fox on YouTube. It's a highly regarded film with interviews from military officials, astronauts, and others, covering UAP incursions at nuclear sites and Pentagon disclosures. And that's hooky kooky stuff or hokey kooky stuff? Come on. And why would you have government hearings? You would just be dismissive of it. Oh, what a beautiful day that shot is. Look at that. How pretty that is. Let's give you a weather update. 75 degrees Fahrenheit, that would be 24 degrees Celsius. Humidity 76%. Wind 24 kilometers an hour, that'd be 15 miles an hour. A little tough to be playing golf. Look at that red flag upper left. A little windy, but they're golfing. Yeah, I don't want to put that up there. Michelobster, let's see. Well, that's where it gets interesting. Or they could, and I think that's where if you don't have a strong spiritual foundation, which you can only discover. You can't become spiritual. You can't grow spiritually. You can discover. That's where you go in with yourself. But yeah, it becomes where they say, well, yeah, Jesus, yeah, we had him walk on the water. Yeah. But see, I don't think so. And it still doesn't explain creation. How did the universe be created? If they're in from this universe, 4 billion years ago there was no universe. So, DOXX, have you considered the possibility that the planet was seeded by aliens and not God? Or have you considered this planet is a penal colony for the spiritual, those that are spiritually asleep or stubborn? Maybe it's a penal colony. Doesn't bother me. Interesting what they have to say, if they have anything to say. Macalobster, have you seen Prometheus? We will have to accept that beings that don't look like us are of God. Will evangelicals I don't care about evangelicals. I was going through over-the-air stations out of Orlando. Oh, man, there's a big Bible community or minister or whatever, and there was there was Jimmy Swaggart Jr., going at it, that maybe that's the wrong term, was preaching, it's like, do I really care what they, but sometimes that's all, or Mormonism or Catholicism. It's what you can handle. If they, until you're ready to search for yourself. I don't think you find God by committee or by a group of 12 or whatever. I'm not going to, it's like financial planning. I'm not going to rely on somebody else or for my own fitness or my own health. You got to go within God's presence within you. God is everywhere, but His presence, your point of contact is within you. Go within yourself. I really don't care what they can accept or not. The individual I care about, All right, let's finish up the media. I still got media to go. Can you believe this? Now we're going to go to the politicians. Anna Paula Luna, Florida.
Saw some interesting stuff. And so...
Okay, I'm sorry, Congressperson. I'm going to give you...
Saw some interesting stuff. And so what I will tell you is that footage, the fact that it was dead drop to Burleson, I'm certain that there's more of where that comes from. And we are going to push for the declassification of stuff that we've seen because I think the American people deserve to see it. But I think, you're never going to have the U.S. government admit or try to explain something if it's also somewhat not specifically pertaining to national defense. So if it's not tech that we've made not involving a foreign government, I think that you're going to see a direct statement from that. What's interesting, and I kind of went into this with Joe Rogan, is when we were talking to some of the witnesses, they don't call them extraterrestrial. They call them interdimensional. There's also this aspect of these things defying physics as we know it. And then you look into texts that were removed from the Bible, like the Book of Enoch, that actually specifically address technologies, if you will, that were given to mankind or of entities not of human origin, non-human intelligence. So these are all things to consider when addressing the topic. But based on what I've seen, not speculating, based on the evidence that I've seen, there's something out there. And based on what I'm saying is it's not. I think that it's along the lines of that video that you just saw.
Have they shown you? Okay, so
I have to be careful because I could get in trouble if I divulge what I've been shown in a skiff. So what I can tell you is I'm just telling you as me, not specifically addressing skiff stuff, that they're real. And I'm not the only one. You just saw the Secretary of State in a documentary addressing the same thing. I know it's a mind loop, right? But like Pinellas County, where I specifically represent, there's actually a high number of these reported sightings. But it's not just there. A lot of the members on the task force or that gavel into this, first of all, it's bipartisan and bicameral. Like we've had pretty much everyone's like circulated at one point, right? Through task questions and whatnot. But members in Alaska, the member of Alaska specifically has a lot of reports of this. People that, represent these areas. When you get calls to the office, I've seen a lot of kooky stuff too that I know it's like crazy, like provably false. That's AI, CGI, whatever. But then you have the stuff that you can't explain. And then you have the attacks on the witnesses that come forward to testify, which if it wasn't real, why would you try to be discrediting someone? And why is the Department of the VA leaking people's records to the press if it's not real, right? It's like if if you're being told not to look under that rock, you might look under the rock. And so that actually happened to David Grush when he came forward to testify, is his medical records were leaked to the press.
Patrick, don't be scared. You can handle the truth. I believe this is the last one. Representative Eric Burleson.
But I felt comfortable saying this, but I've heard this in a secure setting that there's an object that another country has that is a friendly country to the United States, but not exactly easy to get to, and that this object is so big that they had to build a building around it.
Yeah.
And that the building has its own cover. There are people that work there that have no idea that
Yeah.
that this is even part of this building.
I heard it's South Korea, but
I cannot say. But at the end of the day, that may be, they're going to probably move everything else in every location that I go to, but that one supposedly they can't move.
yeah.
Oh, nice. And it is South Korea. I from the limited research I've done. Can't move it, it's so large. What about that, Patrick? Huh? What do you think of that? Oh, let's see. This is the gal Morty wants to bang. Did he? Well, she's an attractive-looking woman. Representative, I believe she's married. What's her name? Representative Anna Paulina Luna, Florida. Well, he's a West Coast guy. He's going to have to move to Florida to have a chance, but I believe she's married. I'm not sure. Did he say that publicly on his channel? This is an allegation. At this point, it's only an allegation, McAlobster. 80 Never Calling, 80 Never Sleeps, Passion of the Christ 2, or Resurrection of the Christ is coming out next year. Well, nothing, as far as I'm concerned. Now I got to go to my metaphysical file. There's two movies that will never be replaced because they revealed ultimate truth in 2 movies. And of course, Morty would never pick up on this because he's a materialist. He does the hell with spirits in his mind. Now, what did I do with that? Movies. Here we go. I got it here. Movies, the truth. What was the subtitle of Ben-Hur? MGM's 3.5-hour widescreen epic technicolor blockbuster, a biblical tale. The subtitle, A Tale of the Christ. That's right, Ben-Hur. Charlton Heston, Jack Hawkins, Harriet Stephen Boyd. Let's read some of the dialogue to that epic movie. There's Masella and Sextus. Masella is coming, I think, played by Stephen Boyd. He's coming over to take Jerusalem or Judea or whatever from Sextus. Quoting now from the movie. This is Sextus. Makes your head spin. There's a wild man in the desert named John who drowns people in water, and a carpenter's son who does magic tricks. Miracles, they call them. Masella. There's always a rabble-rouser stirring up trouble. No. This man is different. He teaches that God is near you in every man. It's actually quite profound, some of it. That was Sextus. You've been too long away from Rome. Go back, Sextus. Go to Capri. Bathe, rest, lie by the sea. Forget that God is in every man. There is divinity in only one man. Of course, he's referring to the Emperor Masella. So there it is. Ultimate truth, God is in every man. The Bhagavad Gita, divided yet undivided. The source and object of all knowledge. God is near in every man. That was a tale of the Christ known as Ben-Hur. And there's one more. Wait for it. The 10 Commandments. That's right. The greatest event in motion picture history. Cecil B. DeMille's The 10 Commandments. Charlton Heston, Yul Brynner. Ann Baxter. Edward G. Robinson. Yvonne DiCarlo. Deborah Paget. John Derrick. The quote. Here it is. Charlton Heston as Moses as he comes down from the mountain. He, God, is not of flesh but spirit, the light of eternal mind. And I know that his light is in every man. There it is. Ultimate truth, the greatest discovery you'll ever make. In fact, I can play it for you. Why should I act? I can play it for you. Now let's go to the 10 Commandments.
Moses, your hair.
Your sandals.
I stood upon holy ground. Can you tell us, Moses? My eyes could not look upon him. Did he speak? He revealed his word to my mind. And the word was God. Did he speak as a man? He is not flesh, but spirit. The light of eternal mind. And I know that his light is in every man.
All right, let's go to Ben-Hur.
I'd forgotten the heat.
But it were only the heat.
You know, I lived here until I was 14. Jerusalem was my home. My father was popular
Yes,
under...
I know. Your father is well remembered. Fine governor. If there can be such a thing in this forsaken land.
If you want to rise, Sextus, do the difficult. I asked to be sent here.
I think you'll find the people changed since you were a boy.
In what way?
Oh, won't pay their taxes, an irrational resentment of Rome.
There's nothing new in all that.
And then there's religion. I tell you, they're drunk with religion. They smash the statues of our gods, even those of the emperor.
Punish them.
We do. When we can find them.
Find the leaders.
Oh, you don't know. There's nothing you can put your finger on. I tell you, there are strange forces at work here. For instance, there's this Messiah business.
I know. There was one predicted when I was a boy.
A king of the Jews who will lead them all into some sort of anti-Roman paradise. Makes your head spin. And there's a wild man in the desert named John who drowns people in water. There's a carpenter's son who goes around doing magic tricks, miracles they call them.
There's always some sort of rabble-rouser going about stirring up trouble.
No. This man is different. He teaches that God is near in every man. It's actually quite profound, some of it.
You've been too long away from Rome. Go back, Sextus. Go to Capri, bathe, rest, lie by the sea, and forget that God is in every man.
The ultimate truth. Comments? Yeah, you wish. You wish, Patrick. And Paulina Luna won't stop calling me. She wants to go to dinner. I can't be bought, really. McLobster would take her to a skiff. Come on. With Rufus. Well, Mel Gibson, I don't really know him that well. I don't want to put that up there. You're entitled to your opinion. Apocalypto shows his genius, madness at times. Well, McLobster thinks he's a genius. They will ruin you if you don't play. Let's see, 80 never. Patrick, thanks for your opinion, Rufus. Give us some thought to how you rejected the dark side of Hollywood. They will ruin you if you don't play. McLobster, a friend of mine worked for Gibson, allegedly, and had a very high opinion of him. Time Lord, I love Charleston Heston. Does rhyme a little bit, doesn't it? 80 never calling. Yeah, I mean, whoever wrote the script for that interchange there knew what he was talking about. Yes, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God in the beginning. Now, if you're going to do scripture on me, I got to go. Got to find it. I only use the King James Version. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Let's see, John 1:1. Let me go find that. Browse the Bible. First John 1. That which was from the, let's see, that which was from the beginning, which we have heard, which we have seen with our eyes. Let's see. Well, that's different. What John? Let's see, there's another John here. Oh, here we go. John 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. Let's stop there. Maybe I can use it on X. Okay. Have I got everything down? Have I done everything? Let's see. Hang on. I didn't even go to Wawa this morning. I had my coffee at home. I went over that. The films. Oh, we haven't covered Trump yet. Okay, we're going to lose some people. We got to cover Trump, man. He went after the media. Great. I mean, this is great stuff. Oh, I love it. We got to go to Trump now. Whoops. I wish I looked like that. All right. You can hear me. So let's... number one, other countries, Mr. President.
We're doing very well with respect to that whole situation in Iran. We are talking to other countries about working with us on the policing of the strait. And I think we're getting good response. If we do, that's great. And if we don't, that's great too. But remember, like as an example, in many cases, they're NATO countries. We're always there for NATO. We're helping them with Ukraine. As many, it's got an ocean in between us. Doesn't affect us, but we've helped them. It'd be interesting to see what country wouldn't help us with a very small endeavor, which is just keeping the strait open. That, by comparison, is a small. It's small because Iran has very little firepower left.
It sounds reasonable to me. Which countries?
Mr. President, which countries have said that they will help?
Well, I can't say yet. It's a little early. They contacted today and last night, but we've had some positive response. We had a few that would rather not get involved.
Is China one of them?
I don't want to tell you about that. I mean, I can't really say for sure, but China's an interesting case study. They get most of their oil, as you know, by far. They get a lot, about 90% from the strait. So I said, would you like to come in and we'll find out. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. You know, there's some other deeper reasons why they may not. They should come in my opinion. It never made sense for years. If you go back and look at what I've said years ago, I said, why are we maintaining the Hormuz Strait when it's really there for China and many other countries? Why aren't they doing it? And that's because we had weak leadership, to be honest with you. But I'm bringing it up now because I think even long term, I think it's something that other countries should help us with.
How many other countries, Mr. President?
And again, remember this, about 7. We talked to about 7. Just remember that it's something that we don't need, and these countries do need. And yet for years, it's like, for years we've been maintaining it, doing a great job. And now that the war is, now that they've been diminished in terms of military, their military has been greatly diminished. I think it's a good thing for other countries to come in.
Now, that's what he said was true. We don't need Middle Eastern oil, okay? But what he didn't say, why are we keeping it? Because you have to have the free flow of oil at market prices. if they can't ship oil out of there, what's that going to do to our domestic price here? It's going to shoot up. It's going to stay high. So we do need the Strait open. Now we do have our own oil supply, but it's again a global commodity. It's the price is set globally. Unless you're going to do price controls, you're not going to do that. He would never do a price control. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know what he would do. But to keep the price down, you got to have the Strait open. But what he said we didn't need the oil. Okay, right. But it's a global commodity, right? You want lower prices. He wants lower prices. You got to have that Strait open. So he kind of muddied the waters there a little bit. So but which countries? What about when can they start, Mr. President?
When this begin? Well, they start immediately, but it will take a little time to get here. Some of the countries have minesweepers. That's good. Some of the countries have a certain type of boat that could help us. Some of the countries would be, helpful. Remember, it only takes a couple of people to screw up the Strait, a couple of terrorists. You don't need their military is defeated, but all you need is a few people dropping mines here and there, and you louse it up. So we need. I'm demanding that these countries come in and protect their own territory because it is their territory. It's the place from which they get their energy, and they should come and they should help us protect it. You could make the case that maybe we shouldn't even be there at all because we don't need it. We have a lot of oil. We're the #1 producer anywhere in the world times 2, by double, at least double. Now I think it's much higher than that. But we do it. It's almost like we do it for habit. But we also do it for some very good allies that we have in the Middle East.
And we also do it to keep the price down here in America. Come on. You got to have it open to keep prices down here, unless you're going to do price controls, which I don't think you're going to do that. And falling behind on the comments. Oh, my goodness. Let's see. I've never seen a Mel Gibson movie. I just haven't for some reason. The Book of John, says Patrick. You're right. Book of John. Peace, love, unity to all. Patrick is pushing that. Oh, peace, love, unity to all. You cannot have peace and love or unity with others that are at war with themselves. You can't have it. Not going to happen. I don't want to get into Mel Gibson, what he said or didn't say, because he's an actor. Who cares what he said, right? Seriously, or who's the other guy, the Scientologist? Who cares what he thinks? The chosen with this to help his career. You want to make movies? Oh no, okay. Take care, Patrick. Take care. Take care. Take care. Ad McLeod. Hot potato, game over this time, Lord. He snubbed all of our European allies. Now he wants his participation. Well, he didn't snub them. I don't know what you mean by that. He's been saying since he came down on the escalator, I believe, that they can't have a nuke. I think the world is better off, regardless of what Tommy thinks, that the Ayatollah, they would have used it. They cannot have nuclear weapons, which also brings me to the point. I looked up what's the most difficult thing of making the weapon. It's the enriched uranium. They still have the enriched uranium. So guess what? Somebody's got to go get it. The Israelis or the SEAL team, you got to locate it and you got to get it out of there somehow, safely. That's a biggie. I don't know how they're going to do that. I'm confused. He snubbed all our European allies and now wants all they talk about is international law with America. International law. You can't do this. International law. While the Ayatollahs can mayhem and bombs and everything else. That's okay. They never apply the international law to the Ayatollahs. We're losing friends, some friends, Special relationship with UK, some special relationship, right? Oh, China's in trouble. They're not winning. They got their own problems, big problems. Which is, wow, just wow, says Rufus. Exactly. Exactly. Common sense. The world is a better place. Thank you, President. Yes, thank you, President Trump. Thank you. We're relying on you, Donnie. Did I tell you I saw Donnie? I saw him. He was out there. He's had his arms folded in his driveway, and I waved. I don't know if probably didn't recognize. We're relying on you, Donnie. Donnie and what did I give the name of the other guy? I can't think now. Reggie. Donnie and Reggie. Well, when they were bombed, no. No, listen, you don't think Mossad knows where that enriched uranium is or where it's going? Come on. You know, they had cameras inside some of those Royal Guard command centers that got hit. They know a lot what's going on. They're tracking that stuff. You have to. DOXX, the enriched uranium has been dispersed all over the Middle East. It wasn't secure. No plan. Well, they're not going to brief us on it. Little Rubio working on Cuba next. Yeah, they're done. They're done. That was the dream of the leftists, the globalists, the leftists, the who's up in Canada, the liberals, the wacko Democrats here. Oh, they got free medical. They got free medical. They got this and that. They went belly up because they made everybody a government employee. Just like New York and California, they just hire all these public people. You got to pay them. They don't pay for themselves. They cost money. They cost taxes. You need to grow the private sector, which our wonderful president is doing. McLobster, they've been in overdrive since we pulled out the inspectors last summer. Strange policy. Yeah, well, you got to stop them. They've been stopped for now, but you got to find that stuff. I don't know where you got that figure from, McLobster. Let's go to Grok. How many pounds of enriched uranium does Iran hold? The aggregator. Not that it's 100%, but it's more than some comment on YouTube. Let's see. 972 pounds. Indicate Iran holds approximately 972 pounds of uranium enriched up to 60% near weapons grade, the most proliferation sensitive portion often highlighted. Okay. This is from, just you can go look it up. It says 972 pounds. I'm not going to read it all to you on how they got that figure. Let's see, now, for the total enriched uranium stockpiles, including lower enrichment levels like 5, 20%, et cetera. Now, that's a greater volume. That's 21,000 pounds. But you want when they say enriched, the weapon grades enriched stuff is what you got to get. But it wouldn't be harmful to find out where this stuff is either, right? Earlier 2025 figures says 20,000 pounds something, but post-strike reports focus on the more high enriched portion due to its breakout risk. Okay, you can read the whole thing. They got a whole article on this. But I got more clips to play. McLobster, I'm saying this is libertarian. But you really feel comfortable with Hegseth conducting? He's not calling all the shots. He's conducting the objectives, but it's the president, the commander-in-chief, and his advisors. It's not Hegseth. They've done a fabulous job up to this point. Very fabulous job up to this point. Okay, now we're going to get into special, what Tommy said earlier at the beginning, 3 hours ago at the beginning of the show, fake news. Let the brainwashing begin. What about that fake news, Mr. President?
What they tell you and what they tell the public You know, I just put out a truth about their disinformation. I assume most of you saw it. And they use AI. They said they attacked the USS Abraham Lincoln, one of the largest ships in the world, an aircraft carrier. And they show pictures of it burning. It was never attacked. It was never burning. The Wall Street Journal put out a false story that 5 of our big, beautiful tankers that we feed the planes with, they give the planes the gas, jet fuel, hundreds of thousands of gallons of gasoline, that they were all essentially destroyed. They weren't destroyed at all. In fact, 4 of them were not even, I mean, literally were not damaged. And 1 of them has slight damage and will be back in the air soon. But if you read the Wall Street Journal, it's like they were totally decimated and destroyed, like Iran has been. So they put out phony stories. The kamikaze boats don't exist. They're fake. And you can almost see that when you look at them. It looks great, yeah. Because if they did exist, we'd hit them just like we hit other boats all over the place. But they don't exist. In fact, some of the people say, where are the boats? Well, how come nobody's seen the boats? You know why? Because it's AI generated. It's fake. And I found, I didn't realize this before we started, but Iran is known for a lot of fake news. And they deal with our fake news. And I actually think it's pretty criminal because our media companies, who have no credibility whatsoever, are putting out information that they know is false. And it's a very dangerous thing for the country. I think they could be in serious jeopardy, frankly.
Nah, it's disgusting. It's outrageous. They should be prosecuted. The global media, they rather, can you imagine that AI falsifying all that? That's the reason I don't watch the news. I'm not going to let it upset me because I don't know if it's even the truth they're saying. And this one's it had too much data, so I have to play it separately. I want to hear more about this AI fake news, Mr. President. Tell me more.
When you called for the people of Iran to rise up, overthrow their government, what's going on there? They haven't done that. Do you expect them to?
You're dealing with thugs. You're dealing with horrible people. You're dealing with people that are violent and vicious, and that's the leadership and the people right under them, their military or their police. And they've notified everybody, and they put out statements that if you protest, you're going to be shot and killed. The protesters have no guns, and I know you're a brave person, but I don't think you'd be protesting. And so I think it's very hard for them to protest. I fully understand it. They said, if you protest, you will be killed. A week ago and 2 weeks ago, they killed 32,000 protesters, at least. We think the number's much higher than that. They shot and killed 32,000 protesters who were greatly enthusiastic and want to see a change because they've destroyed the country. The people that are running have destroyed the country. But think of it, they shot and killed much more than 32,000 people. Now they put out a notice 2 days ago that we're going to shoot and kill any protester. And they don't have guns, meaning the protesters, they have no guns. So I can fully understand why they're not doing it. Oh, one other thing that was AI generated, they showed about 250,000 people in a square saying how much they love Khomeini. Totally AI generated. It never took place. The media knew it didn't take place, but they built it up like they have great support. They don't have support. And that whole rally that they had 3 days ago, 4 days ago, that they said was fake. It was AI generated. AI can be very dangerous. We have to be very careful with it. But the rally, because I was actually surprised to see, because I know how much the people hate this leadership. This leadership has destroyed the country. The rally that everybody, including ABC Fake News, your network is the worst, but everybody put that rally on. Like, oh, and even I was surprised. I looked. It turned out, I found out today, it was a totally AI-generated fake news story put out by news organizations in the U.S. and elsewhere. And honestly, they really shouldn't be allowed to do it.
Who are you going to believe, Tommy? Yeah, AI-generated rally. Who are you going to believe, Tommy? You going to believe ABC News, Wall Street Journal, or your president? You'd think. Now, if he's incorrect on this, he's going to be called out. The president will be called out. Let's see. That was number. You people.
Our military is incredible. The job they've done is just incredible. And the problem is that when you look at fake stories written by you people, written by and generated by AI, it's incredible. And I just wonder, like Jeff, do you know that these are fake stories? Did you know that the rally of 250,000 people, the supposed rally, was fake? Did you know that?
I saw the reporting on it.
But you wrote about it. You talked about it. And you knew it was fake. It was AI generated.
No, I didn't know it was fake.
You did. You knew it. You knew it.
Sir, have you talked about
Anybody that knew the country knew there's not 250,000 people willing to stand in a circle and say how great Khomeini is. Okay.
Oh, Jeff denies it. Oh, I didn't. You reported on it. Oh, I didn't know it was AI. Maybe you should check that. You're too eager to run with it. Okay, this one's also let's see, remove that. Gonna go to, hang on. Video file number 7. Yeah, there goes Ayatollahs with a nuke. What's the big deal? Well, there goes.
I wanted to ask if you talked about.
Hang on, let's back it up. There goes the neighborhood.
What were you going to say?
I wanted to ask if you talked about about selling oil futures as a way of capping prices, trying to keep prices down at the pump.
The prices are going to come tumbling down as soon as it's over, and it's going to be over pretty quickly.
Do you have any concerns about the political impacts of this? I mean,
I have to do what's right. You know, political, I'm sure everybody has concern. I have to do what's right. I can't say that, you know, gee, I don't want to have any impact on oil prices for 3 or 4 weeks or 2 months, and we're going to let Iran have a nuclear weapon and blow up the entire Middle East and beyond, right? Because, you know, they were going to blow up the Middle East. If I didn't terminate the Obama horrible deal, the Iran nuclear deal it's called, if I didn't terminate that in my first term, they would have already had a nuclear weapon, and they would have used it immediately upon getting it. And if I didn't send in the B-2 bombers to bomb the hell out of it and obliterate, and that's what it was, we obliterated that site and stopped all their potential nuclear. If I didn't do that, you would have had Israel and the Middle East hit by nuclear weapons. And we wouldn't be talking about this right now. What I did in terminating the Iran nuclear deal, and what I did in sending in the B-2 bombers, it was one of the most incredible attacks anyone's ever seen. Late at night, dark, no moon, and every single bomb went right down those chutes and blew the whole place apart. If I didn't do that, you would have had nuclear warfare in the Middle East, and I think Israel would have been obliterated. I think lots of the Middle East would have been, and you saw that when they sent thousands of missiles to countries that didn't expect anything. They didn't think they were going to be involved, and yet you look at what happened with Kuwait, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. You take a look at Qatar. I mean, they sort of got along, and all of a sudden they're being barraged by missiles. These people would have used nuclear on the entire Middle East, and that was their plan, take over the whole Middle East, and it failed with the nuclear, and then they had thousands of missiles, and for the most part, largely, we've now destroyed those missiles. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, Tommy, it's not in America's interest. What's wrong with the Ayatollah having the nuke, right? Right, Tommy? I know, I got a couple comments. Final clip here. Here's the good news. Unlimited weapons.
Our weapons, we make the best weapons in the world. And now what we're doing, as you probably saw, we have the Raytheon and all of the Lockheed, all of these companies are now building plants because we don't want to wait. We make the best weapons, but we don't like to have to wait for them. What we do have, though, is at a very high level, we have unlimited weapons at a medium to high level. And they're really doing the trick. And we're not using they call it the elite weapons, because frankly, they haven't, outside of the original attack, they haven't been necessary. But these companies are building facilities, and they've already started all over many of them are building many buildings right now to make so that we wait 2 weeks instead of 2 years for weapons.
No, violent thunderstorm alert. Oh, okay, you can hear me. Look at that. Coming down hard. I got to check my camera. Maybe I better run. I got to bring my iPhone in. I don't want to get electrocuted out there. Yeah, McLobster. Okay, you still got to find it, but especially the higher grade stuff. I don't doubt you, but there's different. You need it really. I just read it to you, so you look on Grok with it. The highly enriched material. All right, tell your friends the DOXX Report is back, baby. Oh man, it is really coming down.